Welcome to Crunch Time with Jeff, Iafrate, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. And it's another great night, guys. Another great show planned for everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're tuning in live, number one, we appreciate you. But number two, don't forget to subscribe. Booner, I mean, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, something's wrong.
Listen, I was thinking about this today. These four people right here, this little group we have here coming from you-know-where, this is the four best young talent, up-and-coming people in the state of Michigan. Like, if you guys want to be involved in something great, we are early stages right now. If you want to be able to look back and say, hey, listen, I was with these guys from the jump.
No, Boone.
This is something, and people say this all the time. I'm not saying this lightly. This channel right here and these four boys here, this is going to the moon. We are taking this thing to the moon. This is something special. If you're watching us for the first time, I know there was a lot of new watchers and people coming in yesterday. Make sure you guys subscribe. We are live every single night, 8 to 10 p.m. on weekdays. And we put stuff out in the weekends. I promise you guys, we will put the best content out going forward. This will be the best content you guys get in the state of Michigan when it comes to Lions, any sport in Michigan. This is going to be the best content you guys have. I promise you, we are out here to prove people wrong. We want to have fun with the fella. We want to have fun with the people too. You guys know I'm all about the people. I want to grow something very, very special here in the state of Michigan and in Detroit. And I want all of you guys to be a part of it. This thing, hey, crunch time to the moon. To the moon, baby. Everyone right now, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to prove all of the people who didn't believe in us wrong. And we want you guys to be a part of that as well. Everyone hop on the train right now. If you're new, we appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button as well. You can add a membership there. And hey, let's get this thing rolling, boys. Let's go.
Hey, we're not when we say
join the program, baby. Hop on the train. Let's go.
Let's go.
When we say to the moon, we don't mean Dogecoin. Like, we mean like that'll eventually die out.
Time out. Dogecoin did pay for a trip to me to go a free trip for Miami. So I respect the Dogecoin.
That's fair.
Is that when you met Lil Jon?
No, different time. I lived a very wild life. Wow. I'll tell you that.
I will say this too. If you're listening, leave a 5-star review. We're on most podcast platforms. The only one that's giving me a problem is Apple Podcasts, which we'll get situated. But we're on everything else. Crunch Time is on. So please leave a 5-star review. If you're listening, boys, big show today. And if you're tuning in, you see the title. Jameson Williams will have a segment dedicated to just him, kind of talking about what we expect out of him next year. I think how he ended the season. It's very, very important that we talk about the young Lions wide receiver, man, that I think we'd all say, I don't see anybody that would disagree. We're all fans of Jameson Williams, and we have a lot of confidence in Jameson Williams. We also have Senior Bowl footage. Roman Wilson.
Cooking.
He was cooking. We got some footage of him. We're going to go through later in the show. Of course, we'll talk Jared Goff. We'll also talk about Lions free agents. Who should the Lions bring back? We'll go through the list. Shout out to Danny Bennett, Lions on Tap. We got a graphic.
Great list for that too, by the way.
Yes,
I cannot wait for that segment.
Yeah, we'll be breaking that down in depth. And of course, to start us off, I got something that I want to show the people here, and this was posted, and I think you got this, Boone, if I'm not mistaken. It was the PFF most improved player from the NFC North from each team. Is that you? Who put that? Whoever put that?
That was me. That was me.
All right, it was a great graphic.
It was two PFF graphics as well, and they both were kind of weird.
Wow. We got a future line on that list. I like it.
Yeah.
Now,
not Jordan Love. Not Jordan Love.
Not Jordan Love.
Future line.
But look at this list, guys. So PFF put out their most improved NFC North player this season, right? And obviously the Chicago Bears, they got Jalen Johnson, which I don't think anybody would disagree with that one. I mean, he's a stud. We'll go through everyone. We'll go to the Lions last. Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love. I think that's a pretty easy one. I wouldn't disagree with that. For the Vikings, safety Cameron Bynum. Cameron Bynum.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
That's more. I don't know much about Cameron Bynum.
Him and Josh Metellus in the back end of both. They have some good safeties back there right now.
I mean, I couldn't tell. That secondary for the Vikings was just getting shredded. So I didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
I wasn't
I'm not gonna lie there
with Cameron Bynum. The Detroit Lions, though, Alim McNeill,
Mac, baby,
and by the way, real quick about Jordan Love, Andrew Jones is right. WTF did Love improve from? He didn't even play last year.
He had nothing to start on. Like, that's just his ground.
I mean, he lost to the Lions in his other start.
I was wondering the same thing, but
I don't know if that counts anyways.
Yeah, it's like how do you improve if there's nothing to improve from? Like he was just riding the bench. Like
I mean, who else improved from Green Bay this year? Christian Watson de-dressed.
Yeah,
Romeo
Dobbs
kind of a non-factor this year.
Yeah, Romeo Dobbs is pretty good.
Yeah,
he had a big year. They have some receivers over there, by the way, too.
Yeah,
they got 4 of them.
Jeff, did you see that other list too? The PFF one that I sent.
Yes, we'll put that up in a second.
It's just that one. It's weird. It's very weird to me. The player they picked for the Lions on both of them. Very interesting.
And Alim McNeill, man, like he was much needed this year because going into the year, the concern, at least to me, was the pass rush. And to have a guy like Alim, we liked him last year as a run stopper, but we all knew he cut weight in the offseason. The pass rush side of his game tremendously improved. He was, I don't know if it still stood up. I know he was injured late in the year, but he was second on the team in sacks at one point. I don't know if he still is the second.
He finished with 6, I think, counting the playoffs.
Yeah. So like again, from Alim McNeill, from an interior defensive lineman, a guy who was considered coming out of the draft a run stopper, 6 sacks. I'm not going to say, the defensive tackle position is solved, but hey, 6 sacks from Alim McNeill, it's a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, you'll take that.
Yeah, and I think too with Alim, like, I mean, if you think about it, like before he got injured, people were talking about him being in the Pro Bowl. Like he was considered like a Pro Bowl. Like that was a conversation that was being had at one point because he was playing so well in the interior. There, stopping the run, one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. Had 5 sacks, I think, like 10 or 11 games in, or however many games he played before he got hurt. Like he was dominating for the longest, especially when it was like, hey, the Detroit Lions, you needed an interior. And the crazy part with Bugs, the situation with Bugs, for Alim just to be that guy in the middle with the way Bugs kind of that whole thing went down. I don't hate that. If I had to pick another player on the Lions to be most improved, you know who I actually would go, and it was kind of just towards the end of the season. Ife Melifonwu. That's who I probably have picked. Because he kind of came out of nowhere and obviously coming off the injury, but he came in like with like vengeance, man. Like all the interceptions, the sacks, like he put himself in a starting spot, a guy who wasn't even talked about to be a starter, and he worked himself in mid-season to do that. So if I had to pick, I would say Iffy, but I like the Alim thing from BFF.
Yeah, Iffy guys, like I actually like that, but again, he kind of came on late in the year, so I guess but then again, Alim missed 4 games. That would be the 2 to me if you're talking most improved player, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you could. So. Can you make an argument for Amon-Ra or even David Montgomery?
David's a good one.
Well, Amon-Ra, I don't know.
And that's not saying like he was bad, but I mean he improved, and just that level by itself of being able to take another step. But I don't hate Alim McNeill, especially Alim McNeill playing. Do we all agree that he exceeded expectations this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So and he missed time. So
yeah, that's very true. And the fact that you guys brought up Isaiah Buggs, and you bring up like John Kaminsky, guys that you expected to have more of an impact in the season. They honestly kind of fell off. If he didn't step up, that defensive front could have been looking completely different, especially in the pass rush game. I mean, it was annoying, especially in the middle of that season, watching there be no pressure. But imagine if Alim McNeill wasn't there, it would be completely different.
Yeah, I saw a comment too, and it was from Big John, I believe. This one right here. What do you guys think?
Big John, number 77, baby. Every time, dude, I love it.
If Alim stays healthy, he's got double-digit sacks.
Well, the thing is if Alim didn't get hurt, he almost might have, like, he was right there with Aiden Hutchinson. He was like right there in Aiden. I remember when he came back in Hutch before, or what was it? I think it was when he came back. Someone actually asked him. Shout out Houston Wells. Someone asked him, like, hey, do you think you could pass Hutch in sacks? And he was like, oh, come on. But he was right there with Hutch and when Hutch was struggling.
Yeah, and it seemed like for Alim McNeill, like last year, the turning point was that Giants game. Like he completely wrecked that game. And look at Big John saying, thank you, Booner. No, but he wrecked that game.
I'm a big fan of Big John.
He goes into the offseason. He goes into the offseason. Yeah, he was rapping too. He had some good tracks he released too. So he's rapping. He lost a bunch of weight. And look at this Alim now. Like that dude. What?
I thought you were talking about Lil Jon.
I'm just thinking about him rapping.
Yeah, like Alim. Hey, what's his rap name?
I didn't even know he came out with anything.
I did not know Alim rapped.
Big Mac. Oh no, not Big Mac.
What now I want to see what his rap name is. Damn.
I didn't know he rapped. That's news to me. I thought you were talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson or something. I didn't know I know CJ raps.
I think it's Dream. It might be Dream.
I like that.
Probably because his thing's like Alim the Dream.
Yeah, I think yeah, the
Did
Dream.
You guys see Kirby,
Big
Kirby streaming last night?
Big John. Yeah. No, but listen, and we got this other graphic I want to show too, because it kind of does tie back to Alim McNeill, because when you have the discussion about NFC North and superstars, guys that are up and coming, it seems like Alim McNeill keeps being in these conversations. And here's another part. PFF was showing love to Alim McNeill once again because they put him on the secret superstars list of the NFC North. TJ Edwards, I mean, hey, I like it. TJ
is he a secret superstar?
Yeah, I know. He's pretty good. I don't know if that's a secret.
Like if you watch the NFL, you know TJ Edwards is kind of a dog.
Right.
Like that's not like a secret.
Well, he's not.
I still think there's not a lot of noise around him when there should be.
Yeah, but like if you're looking at like Dontavian Wicks, like I know TJ Edwards he's a dog. I know that, but like he isn't like if you're looking at these secret superstars, like TJ Edwards isn't a secret, dude.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well known.
And Wicks did do really well for the Packers down the stretch, even leading up to the playoffs.
Dog. I think he's gonna end up being their number one day. He was kind of raw as a rookie at the beginning of the season, but late coming on, he's gonna be an issue because he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's physical. He's got that George Pickens build.
Yeah, and Jordan Love started targeting him a lot late in the year too.
Filthy route runner.
Yeah, but Alim McNeill making both lists. Like I don't have a problem with that. If I went with secret superstar, if it wasn't Alim McNeill, I guess for me, a secret superstar in the Detroit Lions, and a secret's weird. Because it depends, right? Like I would go like a Brian Branch. I think that could be. I love that
one. That was one of the ones on defense I'm thinking. I'm thinking of an offensive guy too.
Yeah, I think Brian Branch on defense is absolutely a secret superstar. But then again, it's like he was highly touted coming out of college, but he fell in the draft. So if we're going on defense, I'll go Brian Branch, man. That's a secret superstar right there.
I like that.
That's a stud.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess you can say Anzalone. If you're going to say TJ Edwards, I think Anzalone fits on that tier as well.
No, Lukas isn't wrong. He took that step forward this year. Like
Anzalone, what are you making that face for, Jeff?
Anzo had a year, man.
What are we talking about?
I was going to say that him for the most improved because
most improved. I'll give you.
That's what I was going to say for him, that he could have been up there for that. Because
can I give an offensive one?
Sure.
Whatever. That's disrespectful to Anzo.
No,
hold on.
I'm on Lucas's side. I'm on Lucas's side a little bit with that.
Wait. Let's stay on this. We'll go to offense in a second. Like I'm not going to let him.
No, I still liked it, Lucas. I wasn't shitting on your pick. I was with you.
Anzalone.
If Jeff was shitting on it.
Secret. What the hell? Are we gonna act like? Think about it. In the middle of this season, Jeff, when Hutch wasn't getting to the passer, who was holding down this defense?
He's good. I'm not saying he's bad.
He's wearing the green dot, especially with all the experience in the back end. The plays he's making the passing game, he could be the secret superstar of this Lions team. Absolutely.
Anzalone's good. I'm not saying he's bad. But
yeah,
he is almost 30 years old. What is his
for this season, if we're gonna go young players, then but it's outside of Brian Branch. I mean, who else are you gonna say is a sleeper?
Jeff, Lucas is dead right on this. I mean, at one point, like look at these other guys. TJ Edwards, he's not a Pro Bowler this year. None of these guys. Again, just like Alim McNeill. Weeks before Anzalone had to sit out that game, we all had conversations to where if Anzalone keeps putting these numbers up, will he be in Pro Bowl conversations? He's one of those guys. He's probably the heart of this defense when it comes to everything surrounding him. I'm with Lucas to where like you could make the argument that if you had to pick a guy in this defense, I love Brian Branch. I'm with you on that. Anzalone is the heart of that defense. He's the vocal leader, and at the same time, he led the team in tackles by like 40 tackles or something crazy like that.
He was out there making plays. That man with fractured ribs was solo tackling, throwing around Christian McCaffrey.
He was another guy on this team that was on track to be a Pro Bowler before he got injured and had to sit out a game or two. And that's like TJ Edwards didn't even make the Pro Bowl. How many games did he play? I never said that. I never said that. Now Adam's gaslighting right now. Never said that.
I think every Detroit Lions fan loved the Brian Branch pick.
I loved it. I was on the desk for this day 2 of the draft. I was let's go.
Me and you even liked the Gibbs pick when it was happening. Me and you were like, ooh, I like.
We looked at each other. We were doing social. We looked at each other and went, wait a second. Okay. On offense,
Jack Campbell, different story.
I was about to say Jack Campbell was definitely a different story.
Offensively, my secret superstar. Can I go? Who Lucas just said? Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
I like that.
You just finish there. Yeah, there's no real explanation that you need to have.
Jahmyr Gibbs,
Simply put.
he's a top 5 running back in the NFL right now, in my opinion, and he doesn't get talked about a ton.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that's the only answer, to be honest. Like secret superstar, like I think Sam Laporta already regarded as one of the best tight ends. Like Jahmyr's, he's good, but you could tell he's not talked about enough. Like he is a secret superstar. Like he is. I think that's a great one. I'm not going to debate that one. The Brian Branch to Anzalone, like I guess that threw me off. Like
what? Because TJ Edwards is like 28, 29 years old.
No, it's not the age. It's just like I don't know. It's just,
what is Anzalone like bad?
No, he's not. I'm just being
Anzalone played extremely well this season.
He did. He's
a
fine linebacker.
I wouldn't say I was a hater, but I was an Anzalone skeptic for sure entering this season.
I think everyone was.
Yeah, and he shut everybody up.
He did.
Hey,
Stephen David, it's because he's white. Jeff, just say it. I mean,
Hater boy.
Hey, he's got grit. All right, he's the first one in, last one out. Pack a lunch kind of guy. Type of guy you want your daughter to date.
I will say,
high football IQ.
I want to get Alex Anzalone on this show.
Plays the game the right way.
He's from the same place as my family in Italy, so maybe we can make this happen.
Will you wear a wig
you're
like
gonna get
his?
Jeff going here now. You're gonna get Jeff going here.
Palermo.
Look,
Palermo.
Yep. Sicily.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm hating on him too. It's just Italians. We just can't let each other.
He's more Italian than you. He's a more known Italian, and you take that to the.
Yeah, he's got beautiful hair too, man. He's got great hair. He's got better hair.
Angels are great. I hope they
jealous of his hair.
Jeff, you should try to get that. You should try to get that going. The Jesus flow, you could pull it off.
no, I cannot.
Shit would look dirty.
Dirty. Hey, I want Anzo to be in Detroit for years to come.
He's sneaky
fast. He's here.
Sneaky fast.
Do you guys remember the first game of the season?
You're gonna hate this one. If you didn't like Anzo, you're gonna hate this one. Go Booner.
Do you remember the sack that Anzo had where just out of nowhere versus Geno Smith? Like he was fat, like he just out of nowhere just came up and got him at like the 1 yard. That was incredible.
Hey, what about this one, Jeff?
Okay.
Because I feel like there's really nowhere to go offensively, like outside. They're all like about them.
Right.
What about Germ? As a special teamer? Germ.
Actually,
come on now.
No.
you don't like that, Booner?
You can't say he's a secret superstar because he was an all-pro special teams player.
But he was
that's true. If you're an all-pro, that's not secret. If you're all-pro, that is not secret.
All right. Fine.
He's an all-pro special teamer.
I was testing the waters.
You guys, man, it's secret. Maybe I'm just when I think of secret superstar, like I'm the first one. You're like,
everyone knows about Brian Branch.
But Lucas, you saying Germ is like saying like Penei Sewell because he's an all-pro. He's an all-pro player. Like Germ's an all-pro special team guy.
Yeah, but even on the defensive side, he came in a little bit.
Look at Steve Lehman, Miles Killebrew.
Oh God! I hated Miles Killebrew, man. Those were the dark days.
I'm with Chef, man. You can't call a special teamer a superstar now.
Yeah, I'm on the same
fine.
What about Andrew Jones? Malcolm played all 3 phases.
Dude, we're talking about secret superstars.
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
We're going a little deep here.
Like now you're just talking about like guys.
On Alex Anzalone. Now you're saying Malcolm.
You guys are bringing up Jerks.
Jeff,
special team.
I like what Phil said. I like what Phil said. Jack effing Fox. I'll take Jack Fox.
No. No. He better be the first one released.
Yeah.
First one.
Hey,
you want to release Will Door? That's fine. Will Harris goes first.
You know who I think, and I think Easy brought this up, but Tracy Walker potentially getting released.
I think it's inevitable.
How much was it? How much is his contract?
Because they free up $5 million if they release him.
I think he only has 1 more year regardless.
Sad to say, but he's probably gone.
Man,
I like Tracy too, man.
The Tracy Walker like character arc, like from when he started 100 tackles in the first season with Dan, like everyone loves him. He tears his Achilles, and then of course, now he's a backup safety. Like,
he was laying people out in Lambeau that one game too. He looked like he still had a little bit something left in the tank.
Yeah. Do you guys remember like when he like it was just out of nowhere? We were all just watching a Lions game one weekend. And we're all like, "Where's Tracy?" Like there was no conversation. There was nothing leading up to him getting benched. What?
I want a steak dinner. Booner.
I was steak dinner right before this.
I was responding to some of the commenters.
Hey, Gentry, you had a steak?
Yes.
Man, he don't play around, dude.
Hey, mustache Gentry's a different level, man.
Yeah, see, he got a mustache and he started eating like filet
T-bones.
mignon. He's different.
Always the plays.
He's different. Lisa says, Lucas, what are you talking about? Jack Fox is one of the best punters in the league. You slandering him?
No, I didn't say anything about Jack Fox.
Maybe it was a Lucas in the chat. Maybe it was a Lucas in the chat. Because I would say better watch.
I said something about Jack Fox, but I said Jack Fox should be a secret superstar.
It's not really a secret though. He's like one of the best punters in the league.
Yeah, if Dan would use him, you know what I mean? Like sometimes he's nice. He is really nice. Regardless, Jack Fox, the best punter in the league.
Shout out Jack Fox, man.
Yeah, the best punter in the league. All right, let's get to the real conversation here. All right, that's the appetizer. Jameson Williams, right? Going into his third year? Yeah, third year in the NFL.
Can we count him as his third? I'm going to say this is his second year technically.
It's his third. It's his third.
All right, it's his third. He was injured most of his rookie season, and he was suspended this year. So again, going by the games,
year two.
Okay, but it is his third season. Jameson Williams, he's going to play, fingers crossed, every game next year or most of the games. No suspensions. No ACL injuries, knock on wood. He'll be healthy. He'll be ready to go at the beginning of the season. What kind of year are we expecting out of Jameson? And for me, I've been a big fan of J-Mo. You see the talent. I don't think it's hard to see it, right? If you're a guy who goes off strictly production and you look at stats and you go, well, in these games and the role he played, he's bad. Okay. For me, you watch Jameson Williams, and I think on the biggest stage, when they needed him, he showed up. And I mentioned this before the playoffs he played his last year at Alabama, shined on the biggest stage. Like, this is a guy who's not afraid of the big moment. Like, that matters. A lot of guys, and Amon-Ra is one of those guys as well. That's why I think J-Mo, he's always his spot on this team was always wide receiver 2 with higher potential potentially. But now Amon-Ra is a superstar, so I think he's wide receiver 2. Can he have a breakout season next season? Where are you guys at with J-Mo? And what's your confidence level? He can go out next year, and I'm going to say it, get 1,000 yards or close to.
That's exactly, and I wrote it in my notes here. I wrote 1,000 yards, and I think it's a situation to where next year you see an Amon-Ra St. Brown 1,000 yards, a Jameson Williams 1,000 yards, a Sam Laporta 1,000 yards. What the 49ers just did with 2,000-yard receivers, and as well as George Kittle, I think you see the same thing with this Lions team, especially with like Ben Johnson returning. That like, he's going to take the next step. And kind of yesterday, Lucas mentioned, I think, about J-Mo Gentry. J-Mo has the highest ceiling on this football team. Like his skill set and his speed and everything he has the highest skill set on this ceiling out of any player, any position whatsoever, with his speed and everything with it. So I think Jameson Williams, he's going to take that next step this next year. He's going to have a full offseason to get kind of involved with Jared Goff and training camp and all of that. I think you see 1,000 plus. And to be honest, there's a potential, fellas, and this might sound kind of crazy. If Jameson Williams does take that next step and Ben Johnson gets more involved, like Gentry said yesterday, you might be looking at one of the best wide receiver duels in the NFL when it comes to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. And that's going to be very, very scary, especially if you still have like a Josh Reynolds that comes back and a Khalif Raymond and Sam Laporta. Like, if you have one of the best kind of wide receiver duels in the NFL, that is a scary, scary thing in a Ben Johnson offense and with a guy like Jared Goff. So I think it's easy. I think you see both of these guys get 1,000 plus, and you have to use him more. You have to find a way to get him involved.
I feel like if he doesn't get 1,000, it would be a disappointment. He already had 400 in like the limited snaps and the limited throws he was getting this year. And like I said yesterday, Ben's got to find a different way to get him incorporated. And we want to see less of Josh Reynolds targets, and a lot of those plays that were being run for Josh Reynolds ran to J-Mo. So minimum, it has to be 800, 900 yards. And I would still be disappointed with that, because that means you're not getting him involved the way you should be, because him with the yak and the yards after catch is going to be the biggest thing, because those like crossing routes, he catches that, he's getting yards. And like, it's just all on Ben Johnson at this point. You've seen towards the end of the year what he can do when he has the ball in his hands. It's just giving it to him now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we already kind of saw it when he returned from the suspension. They're trying to get Jameson Williams the ball back more. When it was like the weeks 1 through, I want to say it was the first 7 games that he played, he had 22 targets. In the last 6 weeks that he played, he had 27 targets and his production was through the roof. And you even saw it in the playoffs. Like, they're incorporating him more. I don't think he's going to get anything more than about 1,000 yards receiving. I think he's going to have close to 800 to 900 yards to the air and then 200 on the ground. But I think that's perfectly fine when you look at it, because there's a lot of mouths to feed. And even if he doesn't have 1,000 yards as a receiver, if he takes that step, the plays that he is making on the field are going to just scare the defense so much that it's going to open up the offense. And that's why you can have Jahmyr Gibbs as 1,000-yard rusher and have David Montgomery probably 800-900 yards to go with it. So I don't think he needs to have a breakout season statistically, but just from what we've seen so far, because he doesn't need to be a 1,400-yard guy for this team to win. If it takes 900 yards, then that's what it takes. And I don't think J-Mo is going to be commanding 1,000 yards a year. He just wants his team to win, and he's a selfless player. I think he has made no noise in the locker room about not being targeted.
Two quick things real quick too, Jeff. First thing is Lukas. That's a great point, because he does get a lot of rushes too. So he might combine for 1,000 yards both ways, like 800 and like 200 or 300 in rushing, and just go out there and get a couple big games rushing as well. But with that as well, I saw a comment earlier in the show. I'm guessing someone saw we were talking about this. And someone kind of brought up Devontae Adams about how it did take him a couple years. Like, there are guys in the NFL. I think there's a lot of people, especially like a 12th overall pick, a lot of fans and a lot of people in organization, like, they're like, oh, a 12th overall pick, he should be good right away. Some guys, it takes some time, and that's just a fact. And especially like J-Mo, everything he's gone through the last 2 years, it's going to take time. But when that does hit and he does start to click, that's when you start to see kind of why he was picked 12th overall. So I do think, like, eventually, whether it's this year or he has a kind of year like Lukas said, or next year, he's going to click at some point and be one of the best in the league. And then now you have St. Brown, who was a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL this year, and Jameson Williams, who's a potential top 5, top 10 guy as well. That's where it is. There's a little bit of patience, and I know fans hate to hear that.
Yeah, and not every wide receiver can walk, and not every wide receiver can be like the food version of instant oatmeal. Like, it's going to take some time for certain guys, and I think for J-Mo, to be injured his first season, to kind of get worked back. It seems like it's been the same for his first 2 seasons. It's been missing games, missing a large portion or a big portion of action, and then just getting thrown out there, and people are like, produce. And there's already a well-oiled machine. So how do you expect a J-Mo to come in? And to Lukas's point, he doesn't have to have 1,400 yards for this offense. I mean, you got Sam Laporta. I mean, you got a lot of mouths to feed. Like, he's going to get 1,000. I think he's 1,000-yard tight end. And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I think can be a 1,500 yard guy yearly. So there's 2,500 yards of passing, 2,500 passing yards. Now you get Jahmyr. He's a weapon in the passing game, right? Josh Reynolds. Now I do think Josh Reynolds' future, whether they bring him back or not, if they choose not to bring him back, more targets for Jameson, obviously. And I do think for J-Mo to get 1,000, that's easy money. I'll tell you why. That's about 60 yards a game through a 17-game schedule.
Yeah.
Can he get 60 yards a game? He can get that on a target. I mean, or he can get one catch. So 3 catches a game, equating to 60-ish yards a game. That's 1,000. And now, again, will he? I don't know. Maybe he gets 800. Maybe you got Laporta. If he gets 1,000, now you're looking at the Niners. I mean, even the Niners, they had Ayuk get 1,000, Kittle get 1,000, and Debo didn't get 1,000. So I don't think it matters if he gets 1,000 or not. But again, you'll see it with your eyeballs, him producing and the impact he makes. I do think a big year is coming from next season. I do.
Yeah, and I mean, there's really no way with Josh Reynolds, I don't see a way they don't bring him back, because the people are emotional after that San Francisco loss, but Josh Reynolds is a very clutch player for the Detroit Lions. But I think even with him coming back, it's time to just pass that crown over to J-Mo as far as the second option in the passing game with the wide receiver core. I don't see what Josh Reynolds bring you that Jameson Williams can't, except maybe in the run game. But even J-Mo as a blocker, he's shown you numerous times that he's like that. And even though he's a smaller framed wide receiver, he's very physical when it comes to blocking. So I think the door should just be wide open for Jameson Williams to step into that wide receiver 2 spot. He's been around the system long enough. Regardless of what you've seen on the field, he's been around that team, and he knows what it's going to take to be wide receiver 2 in that system more than anybody else. And he's hungry, and he wants to prove all the doubters wrong, because he still hears that noise.
Hey, let's just be honest too, and let's just little trust circle here. Guess what? Imagine how good your offense is with Josh Reynolds as wide receiver 3.
Yeah,
good.
Like, imagine, think about that, like, guys. Like, J-Mo this year was like your wide receiver 3, basically. Him and Khalif when he was kind of healthy. Now he's moving up to wide receiver 2, and the guy who was wide receiver number 2, he's going to be just as good. Now he's going to be your third option. That just means you just got that much better. Like that, you're improving without even adding players on your team. And I'm pretty sure, I think Josh is going to be back. Saw some stuff today that it sounded like the Lions do want to bring him back. I can't remember the exact quotes, but it seemed like there was kind of a mutual. I think that he said, I can't remember. He might have been on 97.1 and mentioned there was like a mutual thing or something. I can't remember. I saw something though on Twitter.
Hey,
Yeah,
by
I
the
just
way,
don't see like. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, real quick. Shout out to Devin. I'm wearing his merchandise here.
Shout out Devin. Let's go.
Devin.
Six stuff. So shout out to you, Devin. What were you gonna say, Luke? Sorry about that.
Oh, but I was gonna say I could see Josh like being one of those guys where it's like I don't really care how much you pay me right now. Like I'll just stay here because especially with Jared, I guarantee Jared's kind of fighting for Josh to stay around as well because that's just Jared's guy. That's been Jared's guy since day one. I don't see him going anywhere, especially like money. Like is Josh Reynolds worth a 1 year, $2 million deal even if they like can't come to terms? Absolutely, in my opinion. Like he's the type of guy that those are exactly why you take veteran deals.
Yeah, and I'm sure he wants to get his lick back because, like you said, he played well fairly, like pretty much the whole year. Obviously, towards the end of the year, he did have some drops outside of the playoffs, but like I'm sure he wants to come back and show that, he's still got a little bit left in him and, he can help this team out.
Hey,
and run it back.
There's some comments in here, and a lot of people like, obviously, he's getting a lot of hate because he dropped two balls in like one of the biggest game in Lions history. Like that's big. But at the end of the day, I saw a stat today, and this has been a stat all year long. And Jeff, when we did the pregame show, me and you brought this up all the time with Josh Reynolds, was every time he catches the ball, it's for a big play. Like his whole career in Detroit, like he's always, every time, if we need a first down, a 3rd and 15, it's always been Josh Reynolds, and he's always made the play. He had 2 of the biggest drops, yes, but he has made a lot of plays for the Detroit Lions in the last 2 years. So I'm not going to, and it's a thing that Dan talks about in press conferences the last 2 days, take the emotion out of it. Do we need this guy? And what does this guy do for us? And Josh Reynolds, if you take those 2 passes out of it and the emotion as a fan, like,
that's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar.
That is
that's a bar. Yeah, that's true.
You guys see what I'm saying? It's like, take the emotion out of it. Josh Reynolds has come up big. Like he was like has the most first downs in the NFL for catches. The only person ahead of him, I'm pretty sure, was Brandon Ayuk. So like it put that in perspective is he has the 2nd most first down catches in the entire NFL. That's huge for a football team. So you want to take the emotion out and say, hey, he still does make plays for you.
Yeah, I mean, especially at the beginning of the season when J-Mo wasn't there, and we talked about it all the time in the morning show, Jeff, with Flannel, was through his first 22 receptions, it was either a first down or a touchdown, to Booner's point. So think about what we just saw against the 49ers, but think about what it took to get there, and Josh Reynolds, especially in the beginning of the season, held it down for the Lions. Yep. Against the Rams in the wild card round, 80 yards in the first half, they don't win that game without that.
Yeah, and real quick to tie it back to J-Mo, impressive stat here. 3 playoff games, 2 touchdowns, and he had them in 1 game, obviously. So it's a pretty good playoff career start there for J-Mo. And I think even with Josh or without Josh, J-Mo, I think will have a big year. Him getting 1,000 with the amount of mouths they got to feed, it is tough. But I do think, like I said earlier, visually, you'll be like, yeah, this is a much better Jameson Williams. And they're going to have an entire offseason now and training camp. Remember, he couldn't even go out there and work. Yeah. So I think J-Mo this season, man, breakout season incoming. And Josh Reynolds, I
think 1,000 scrimmage yards is a lock because even as much as they got to incorporate him in the run game early on, like he's going to have close to 300 yards rushing, I bet.
What do you have? What do you have rushing this year?
I could check.
I'm checking right here. So
close to 100.
He's had in 2021 he had 1 carry for 40 yards, and that was in obviously a short amount of game, which is that was the I think it was the Vikings game. I could be mistaken. It was one of the games. 2023 he had 3 carries for 29 yards and a TD. So I mean every time he touches the ball something happens. So give him the rock, even if it's in the run
in the playoff game.
Yeah, and then the playoff game, of course. Yeah, there's another one.
49-yard
run. Here. Lisa says, I think I like Jeff. I'm good with Goff spreading the ball around. Yeah, there's so many mouths to feed, man. That's a good thing.
Crazy.
For this offense. I mean, you got
a good problem to have.
Yeah, I mean, Laporta, right? You got Brock. No, I'm just kidding. Brock.
Hey, Dan Skipper
in there.
Hey, Brock.
Dan Skipper.
Penei Sewell.
Brock in there.
Penei Sewell.
No,
Did
Taylor
you see
Decker.
Penei run out for sorry to cut you off, but when he was doing the offensive formation when they had Dan Skipper in at tackle and Penei was motioning across the line and they ran Penei on a speed out and they checked it down to David Montgomery, but Penei was wide open, that he was ready. He was ready for it.
He's got hands too. There's so many videos of him at practice that I see like a one-handed catches, just bop.
By the way, Brock Wright, he's made whenever they go to Brock, I'd rather have Brock. They miss Brock because Anthony what's his
first?
name?
Oh, can we talk? We actually never talked about that. That
running out at the 1 yard line
to where you have to, and then it ended up where you have to use the timeout, and like it was just a disaster. Like if you score a touchdown there, the Detroit Lions actually have a chance to win the football game.
Brock, I'll tell you what, Brock Wright would have dove. He would have dove to score.
Taylor Decker, you leak him out there.
Yeah,
ain't tackling him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Penei Sewell in open space with the football, that guy's a problem.
I would love to see that. I would put in my kick return. I want to see Penei run one back.
I thought about this too, just like I don't know when it was like this football season. I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, imagine they gave and this isn't never going to happen because they need him he's so good as an offensive lineman. You're at the 1 yard line, it's 4th and 1, 4th and goal. Give Penei the rock.
Oh,
just give
let him barrel over people.
Get down.
That is a guaranteed touchdown. Like that.
To be honest, not even Penei. Just let Dan Skipper or something.
Yeah,
like
Dan Skipper.
Dude,
That's
Dan
a
Skipper is so
he could
big,
trip and fall in for a touchdown.
Towers over the whole sideline.
Yeah, Skip. He's now. Hey, I'll tell you what. Now that right there, that's a secret superstar right there.
Dan Skipper.
Dan Skipper.
They better bring him back.
Yeah,
they better bring him back.
I love Skip, man.
He's giving him no option. He's gonna make if they do, he's gonna walk into Allen Park on the practice squad and say that I'm here.
Hey, he just shows up to like
you didn't get contracted another place. Oh no, yeah, I had like 5 offers. I'm here though.
Guys, speaking of bringing guys back, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
upcoming. Excuse me.
I love this. I wrote my top 5 down yesterday.
And this was per Lions on Tap, which again, Danny Bennett, he's doing great stuff over there. Go follow them. They're on all social media. He made this graphic, upcoming free agents for the Detroit Lions, and you can't sign them all, but you're going to be able to bring most of these guys back because not all of them are going to demand money, like a ton of money. Like Kendall Vildor, I don't think he's coming back. He should not come back, or he should.
If they keep Will Harris, I take Vildor over Will Harris any day of the week.
Oh,
okay,
yes.
That's fair.
Yes.
Fair. All right.
100%. Please don't.
Here's another guy, though.
It's not even a debate.
Charles Harris. That's a big fat no.
Yeah,
what's
I think
crazy?
On that.
Charles Harris going into the season, everyone they had him as the number 2 edge rusher on this football team. That man ended with more healthy scratches than he did snaps on the season, and he was supposed to be the number 2 edge rusher on the football team. Like that's how bad these edge rushers. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, I remember there was a point in time where, and there was a part of me where I'm like, man, I am concerned about the defensive line, but there was also a thing like, man, you got Charles Harris, he had 7.5 sacks, you got Romeo, maybe you can get some out of Romeo. You got.
I think we all had those conversations.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Devin,
appreciate you for being a Crunch member, becoming one. We appreciate you.
Do you want to know who my number 1 is to keep on this list?
Who?
I think this should be everyone's number 1. I think it's Graham Glasgow.
He's not my number 1, but he's number 2.
I think he has to be you need to keep I say it every day. Like you have to keep this offensive line intact. I'm not saying bring everyone back, but it has to be your offensive line is what you built this team around and this offense. If you let that slip, offense is done. So I think Graham Glasgow, and I saw reports today, Jeff, the fellas, I saw reports today that Graham was told. Yep, and the Lions told Graham, hey, we want you back next year. So a deal is probably a 95% done. It's probably just working out numbers, but they did tell him hey, we want you back.
As they should. To me, he's no question. I don't think there'll be one person that would say don't bring him back. But you know what? There is one person that I think some people would say don't bring back. And Lucas, you could tell who's your number 1.
He's my number 1. He's my number 1. CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's going to be if he wants a lot of money, then yes, let him walk. But for the price that CJ Gardner-Johnson should be commanding, which I imagine all the GMs around the NFL are saying is like, hey, we are not signing you long-term to a lot of money. You were proven to be a distraction at the end of the season, and you got hurt. So CJ Gardner-Johnson, and you're talking about a playmaker that's been proven on multiple teams, and you can say what you want about, oh, he's been on 3 teams in 3 years. You have heard nothing about CJ Gardner-Johnson disrupting a locker room. The Eagles locker room fell apart, and they got rid of their defensive coordinator. That's why he's left. CJ is a very talented player that you can get on a low budget, and you can keep running those 4 safeties that proved so effective for the Detroit Lions, especially when their weakness is in the secondary.
I like that. I had him 3rd on my list, so I like that.
Yeah,
my 1 and 2 are exactly how we've had it. So
yeah, I think to me, if you look at this list, and we'll go through it, Charles Harris, we would agree no, right? Like that, no, I'm okay. Let him go. CJ Gardner-Johnson, would we all agree that preferably we'd want him back depending on the money?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't find, like in free agency, you're not going to find a safety like maybe Budda Baker, but Budda Baker is going to command a lot of money. Yeah,
and the type of player CJ is and how the San Francisco game boiled down, he's going to want to come back, and he's going to come back hungry, man. And obviously,
even if it's a 1-year deal.
Yeah, the vibes
That's
all changed for him after people missing time, but people seem to forget how hyped they were at the beginning of the season with him being a leader of this defense and being a vocal guy in that locker room. So I think you got to give CJ another shot. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. I think
Good
CJ
over there, Jeff.
Yeah, we're good. All right. Dan Skipper must bring back Dan Skipper.
He's in my honorable mention. Sure. He didn't make my top 5, but he'd be like 6 or 7.
All right. Must bring back Dan Skipper. Okay. Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's an interesting one.
No.
I know we didn't mention him. We talked about J-Mo because we talked about Josh Reynolds potentially hurting his targets. I like Donovan. I don't know what he would even command, to be honest with you, because he had one great season. I don't.
I'm going to go no.
with Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm with no. Would I
like
it?
You can get a free agent, or you can get a guy in the draft, and just it's just not like, to me, it's not an essential. Like I'd rather get a late round wide receiver and bring him in.
You let him walk.
You kind of know what he is.
Emmanuel Mosley.
Yes.
Yep.
He was 4th on my list out of my top 5. He was 4th.
I mean, I'm taking him back. I would rather have Emmanuel Mosley out there than Kidna Vildor.
Same.
And that's even after the 2 injuries. That's simply put, especially because in the secondary, especially on the perimeter, cornerbacks, they're smaller players. They're going to have to tackle running backs and tight ends. Injuries happen. So if you can get a veteran corner like that, I'll take him because he's going to be cheap as well. I don't think, until you guys' point earlier, like Glasgow, CJ, they're not going to command big bucks, and neither is Emmanuel Mosley.
Hey, on top of that too, we saw injuries all year, especially like we know what happened, like what was going on with our corner situation. You bring Mosley back on a 1-year deal coming off an injury. You have Cam Sutton, and then if you go out and get a Stephon Gilmore or someone like that, another guy, you have 3 really good corners there to where if someone does go down, you're still going to be in a good spot. And I think that's like that comes back to the fill in the holes that Brad needs to do for the defense. And I think that's one of the holes. You keep Mosley a cheap deal, 1-year deal, and let him come back and just hope maybe that he can. The second half of the season next year, he can give you something.
Oh,
struggling, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff, what is going on right now, man?
Do you hear it?
Yeah, dude, you've been working on that for about 5 minutes.
Wow, but I can just see it.
All right, we're good. Sorry, I actually knocked my mic off, so we're good though. All right, I was trying to. You guys were doing a good job holding it down for me though, until Booner just called me out. So
you want me to go to the next one, Graham Glasgow?
No, we're good. We're good. I'm back. All right.
All right.
You mentioned you have a top 5 free agent. We might as well just go through our preferred top 5.
I have my top 5.
Okay, go for it.
Let's just do that. Do that. So we'll start with you, Boone. Just tell us.
Number 1, I had Graham Glasgow. I already explained that one. I just think cheap deal, and he's kind of like the what's it called? Like a guy that can do everything. What is that?
Like a Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife. He is that guy to where he played center at one point, guard. He's played everything. Perfect fit to keep him. I had number 2. Actually, this might surprise some people. I had Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, I think I'm on.
Yeah, and I think that's because like what we just said last segment was, if he's your number 3 behind J-Mo, that's an elite wide receiver room. And then if you can bring another 4th guy in or a 5th guy in with Leaf, I think that's great. Number 3, I had CJ Gardner-Johnson, 1-year deal, another cheap deal. 4, Emmanuel Mosley, that corner position, keep that thing stacked. And number 5. I had Jonah Jackson, actually. I think if you can get him on a cheaper deal and he decides not to take a ton of money, I think it's just corners, offensive line. There's no defensive lineman on this list that I'm like, I need back.
I'm
My
disappointed
list
in you,
was
Boone.
almost identical to yours, Booner. I had Graham at 1, CJ at 2, Josh at 3, Jonah at 4, and then Mosley at 5. I think 4 and 5 with Mosley and Jonah, if you can get them, like you said, on a low, like prove-it deal, and you've seen Brad giving out these short-term contracts to guys that can go out and prove it and prove that they want to be here and even maybe work towards the next contract. So I think even though Jonah has missed time, Booner, you said it, when the offensive line's all playing together, they're unstoppable, and it would never hurt to have more depth at the offensive line. Obviously, we hope they draft some too, but bringing back a guy like Jonah when he is fully healthy, it's just crucial for the O-line.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. So
who did I
neither of
leave
you
off?
guys I'm thinking about it more. So number one,
And
I
honorable mention, Jalen Reeves-Maven.
Germ for sure. I think Germ's back no matter what.
Hold on. But
Germ's
this is
back no
why he
matter
needs
what.
to be in the top 5. Because think about how many big returns the Lions give up this year. You could go back and watch every Lions game. If there were 6 kickoffs, Jalen Reeves-Maven got 5 of the tackles, and that controlled the Lions as far as where the other team gets set up in field position. Obviously makes plays in the special teams unit. He's a core piece of this team. Yes, it's not on the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball, but in special teams. And then even when he rotates on the defensive side and linebacker, he's not a liability. So I think Jalen Reeves-Maven, in my opinion, that I'm thinking about it more, and I know we just talked about why I'd rather have Emmanuel Mosley out there than Vildor, but coming off 2 injuries, I think it's more important to have Germ back than Emmanuel Mosley.
Okay, you know what? I'll be with you on that.
Well,
I agree, actually. Germ is a big – I just think the price tag, like, dude, Mosley got paid, what, $6 million this year? He's not going to come close to that this next year. He's coming off another ACL
but neither will
injury.
Germ. I think they'll be around the same price, to be honest.
Can we just go Germ and Emmanuel Mosley like 3A, 3B?
Sure.
All right.
As long as you have him in your top 5, he better be. I would rather re-sign Jalen Reeves-Maven than re-sign Jonah Jackson. For just because of, like, Jonah Jackson, man, I know he's a great player when he's out there, but if Brad in the round 1 or round 2 can pluck a guard to replace him, you're saving so much money that can go down the road to re-sign a Kirby Joseph,
he's
name
right.
it. Like, he can use that money in different ways.
Lucas,
because he's not going to be getting healthier.
I'm going to hit you with this. I agree to a point, though, to where I'm going to just keep going back to the same point, is what is this football team built around?
Absolutely.
The offensive line.
Yeah.
And like, if they don't feel like they can find a guard or if they can't find someone in that first or second round that they feel like can replace Jonah Jackson, there's like, I would have to, and I love Germ so much. I would have to go Jonah Jackson just because, like, you cannot compromise your offensive line on this football team.
But
this team cannot be compromised, that offensive line. That is what this whole offense is built around. That you have to make sure that is.
Now,
if you find a replacement, Germ's perfect. Keep Germ.
Well,
I want Germ no matter what. He'll be back in Detroit. What are we talking about?
So my top 5 list does not feature Emmanuel Mosley. All right. I don't have Emmanuel Mosley out here because I think 2 torn ACLs. I'd rather go sign anybody at any corner and I'd be okay. I'm out on Emmanuel Mosley. I just think he's cooked injury-wise. Depth would be nice, but they're going to sign a corner and draft one. I'll take those 2 over Emmanuel Mosley. Number 1, I have Graham Glasgow. I think he's the number 1 to me. Because the point Booner made, but also the price. Like, that's why the Jonah thing,
the thing is, I saw Lisa saying there, not paying him top 5. You're not going to have to pay him top 5 money at his position. That's not going to happen. I promise.
Well, I mean, how many? Well, think about, but I'm not saying top 5, but think about how many guards you name before you get to Jonah Jackson.
Dude, easy.
There's
just put
probably
in the
like
chat
6 or 7.
And I saw this on the Heavyweights the other day. They did the PFF did a ranking for inside offensive linemen for free agency. Jonah wasn't even in the top 10.
Yeah,
you're not going to have to pay him that much. Yeah, but like you're not going to have to pay him top dollar, I don't think.
But do you think if Jonah leaves, that guard becomes almost like a need at that point? I think it's already with Frank leaving. Obviously, you don't have to replace Frank right away, but you have to replace the interior offensive line. And if Jonah walks, I think that becomes, outside of the defensive line, that becomes a instant need. So if you can find a guard in the first couple rounds of the draft to plug it, I think that works fine, because guards like the linebacker of football, where it's like, yes, it's nice to have a star one, but you don't, at the end of the day, you don't need it. You need a defensive end. You need an offensive tackle. You don't need.
You just need to make sure you have to keep this offensive line top 5. And if you have to keep Jonah, you have to do it.
With Panay and Taylor Decker and Graham, like, you already have a great offensive line.
Yeah, they looked. I'll tell you what. Even on Sunday, I know it was ugly. They looked good. I mean, still, especially the first half. And that was without Jonah.
Hey, maybe they'll get someone in free agency that will replace Jonah Jackson. It'll be cheaper than Jonah.
And I'm not saying I want
Jonah
to leave. I agree. He's not like a must sign. I honestly, I think there's a part of Jonah that he would return on somewhat of a discount. I do, because he likes this. Yeah. He likes the guys that they have on the offensive line. He likes the culture. I could see Jonah returning. I can't. So I'm not interested in re-signing him.
My bold prediction is he comes back, and it's going to be a deal people are going to be surprised on.
I'd be happy with it as long as it's cheap and not long term. I think a 3-year investment. I think it's just like with offensive linemen, they do not get healthier, especially it's not trying to sound weird or anything, but they carry around so much weight just with how they're built, and then they're getting hit by on the other side, the other team's defensive tackle. That's the heaviest player in the fucking field, and you're going with knee injuries. Like, that doesn't hold up for that much longer, especially with how Ben Johnson. They use Jonah Jackson in space with Penei Sewell. You need your knees, and if you're just in space like that with that much weight, you don't get healthier.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a good conversation with Jonah. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, and I could see a team also looking at this offensive line and throwing I don't know about a big bag, but throwing some money at Jonah, being like, all right, we got a young quarterback, or we have a bad offensive line. We got money to spend. Here, Jonah, and we'll see what his intentions are. Does he want to get paid? Does he want to return to the Lions? We'll see. Number one, though, Graham is my number one must re-sign guy. Number two, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I put him at number two because I think he's another guy that people assume is going to ask for a lot of money, but I don't think he will. I think he'll return.
He has no leverage.
Exactly. Yeah. I could see him returning on another 1-year deal. So I put him at 2 because, hey, it'd be great to have him back. And if they cut Tracy, like Easy put great earlier, I would love CJ. Number 3, I got Josh Reynolds. Because Josh Reynolds, I think his value in the passing game is important. And in case there's injuries in the wide receiver room, you trust a guy like Josh. I know what happened on Sunday, but regardless, you trust Josh. Number 4, I have Germ. Because of the points you guys made. Germ is an elite special teamer. He's the guy that can play linebacker if there are injuries to your linebacking core. So I like Germ. He's a culture guy. Players, coaches love him. I just think Germ, and he's cheap. You have to bring him back. And then at number 5, this isn't like a must sign, but I honestly, guys, and I'll let you cook me if you want. I wouldn't mind some depth in that edge room if they brought back Romeo on a dirt cheap contract. Dirt cheap. Dirt, like even if he doesn't play.
All right, no, actually,
Romeo.
No, Lucas, you know what? I'll stick up for Jeff because he was getting $12 million this year, which is just ridiculous for the production he gives out.
Insane.
If you get him on, like, I don't know, what's like a cheap deal, like a $2 million deal. I don't know if that's too low, but like he doesn't deserve a contract like that.
No, I'm talking throw some change at him, 1-year deal, whatever, just to have another.
If he agrees on that,
you got commish.
And I'll say, if he agrees on that,
I was just
get
about
more
to say
depth,
that.
and he's like your 4th or 5th guy, I will go on with that.
They're gonna draft a defensive end. They're gonna bring they are going to address the defensive line and the secondary, I think, first. That's gonna be their instant needs. You take all the money you can get out of there. So if the defensive end that you want, that Leonard Floyd that you brought up yesterday, Jeff, if he's with another team, he's like, well, I love Detroit, but they're offering me just a little bit more. Okay, here. You look, Romeo, Julian, I appreciate what you guys did in Detroit. There's honestly no disrespect, but it's just time to move on. It's just time to move on.
Well, he's better than Commish.
I'll give you that. Commish should be they should.
Love
what you did here.
I just like it. I'm not even going to stick up for Romeo. I'm not even going to stick up for. I'm just saying for a depth piece, for a dirt cheap.
I think at the back end of your defensive line crew, at the very back end, Romeo is like a good back end guy. Like that's just a fact. Like he's not like he's not a good starter, or he's not a good guy. Like when you're rotating in there, like he's just not like. I think if you get him very cheap and he's your back end guy, and then Lucas, to your point, you draft someone, bring free agents in, and you can pay them the money. That's where my head. I'm with Jeff a little bit on that. And then maybe end up he's a healthy scratch every game, but you still have him for $1 million.
And I don't want to sit here and pound the table. I'm not pounding the table for Romeo.
You're pounding the table. No, you're definitely pounding the table. But
all right. Well,
it was like Lucas yesterday in the linebacker. What's his name? Devin White.
Devin White, bro. You guys were being disrespectful. Like he was just a trash bag floating around an NFL sideline.
No.
Because
I
KJ Britt was
Devin White.
balling. Devin White requested a trade. They said no. He let him know that they were leaving. So they're like, all right, why are we going to put you out when we have KJ Britt who's going to be a star?
I respect Devin White. I just don't respect having him as my number one free agent target.
And I said you were right, and I was like, all right, he's not number one. I said he's not. I backed down. I said you're right, he's not number one.
He did. Yeah, you did. We'll give you
that. Was an exciting.
I was just such a Devin White fan coming out of the draft, and he's still proven to be good. Like, if you imagine having him, Anzalone, and Jack Campbell.
I respect your Devin White commitment, man.
All right, I appreciate it.
And guys, I want to get to Roman Wilson here at the Senior Bowl because Senior Bowl clips are coming out, and I know it's the offseason. So if you guys haven't seen this stuff, it's been great. Shout out to Russell Brown at Russ NFL Draft on X. He's a good friend of mine. He does great work too. He's at the Senior Bowl. Honolulu Blues at the Senior Bowl as well. We love those guys. Yeah, those are great guys as well. So I want to play some clips. Roman Wilson, and we got 2 Michigan fans here. Roman Wilson,
Yes,
I will say, great route runner. I know, he wore number 1 at Michigan, and it's not like he put up, true number 1 numbers, but the passing game it is what it was. But at the same time, Roman Wilson, he's been cooking guys at the Senior Bowl, Booner. Straight cooking guys.
I mean, he's been going off. Every single video that comes out of the Senior Bowl, it's Roman Wilson dominating. He had the one-handed catch. I've been trying to find today. I'm interested to where he does fall in where he goes in the draft. That's going to be interesting to me because
he's a Kansas City Chief.
Well, I'm just thinking, if the Lions have a 3rd, 4th round, I don't know how late he falls. I don't know what happens.
I don't see him falling that far.
That's where I was trying to research it, and they don't. I don't know. I wasn't getting much, so maybe because he's not one of the top 5 receivers. And remember last year the receivers they started falling. I remember Lucas and I were talking about receivers last year, and we thought guys were going to go a little early, and guys got started falling to the 2nd, 3rd round, and they were dudes that were falling. Man. So if he falls and imagine that being your 3rd guy.
I hate that, man, dude.
Who was it? Can you throw it up?
Lens.
Hey, love it.
Shout out Lens,
shout out Ryan Lens. Shout out Easy Man. Love you guys, man, for supporting the boys.
Lens fake.
Shout out.
I want to put this. Hey, speaking of Roman Wilson, Lucas, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this.
Oh, I already know where this is going. This one hurt my heart.
I know it
exactly what it is.
I know it did because your boy.
Q.
Oh. Hey!
Hey, but Quinyon Mitchell's a dog. He's gonna be. Remember, I said he's gonna go top 20.
Yeah, and I got a text today from Nick over at Honolulu Blues, and I text you, Lucas. He texted me today. He's down there, and I asked him about him. And he said he feels like he's the 2nd best corner that's going to be in the draft, and he's not even going to be close to being available when the Detroit Lions pick at 29.
Yeah, I could see him going in the teens, to be honest.
So that's that's a dude, like you said yesterday. Maybe we take him. He might not even be close to being available.
No, he won't. And I hope if they trade up, it's for a defensive end, just because the value in trading up if you trade up, you're giving up assets. I want it to be a home run. If they trade up for a defensive end, I feel like that's way more guaranteed, just because with corners that we talk about with injuries. Just sometimes with confidence, if sometimes you could be a really good corner, be extremely talented, but you go through a little bit of a slump, Jeff Okudah, and you never come out of it.
Yeah, get put in the wrong position, you might not bounce back from it.
Yeah,
corner's the hardest position with that.
And to Easy does its point, Brad Holmes has traded up in every draft he's done so far for the Lions. Now, I said this.
Jared Verse.
I said this the other day on the show: quality over quantity. I think quality over quantity this year in the draft. I think that matters more. Less is more. It depends, at least for this year too. You don't need a ton of draft picks. If you're in, I don't know if they trade up in the 1st round. It'd be cool if they did. If not, trade up in the 2nd, 3rd round, whatever it is. Brad, go get your guys. If they're going to trade up in the 1st round, I'm with Lucas. It better be for a defensive line.
A Jared Verse, yes. Jared Verse has to be. I'm not going to be shocked. Brad Holmes has traded up every single draft he's been in.
Yeah. And they got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, so he has ammo to do so.
I wouldn't be surprised if you're still picking at somehow 29th, but he uses some back-end picks and maybe some futures and gets back earlier into the 1st round or vice versa. Like the last couple years, he loves getting multiple 1st rounds or multiple 2nd round picks. So I would not be surprised whatsoever. And I do see here on Tankathon here, Roman Wilson is projected to go 74th overall in round 3.
Third round.
third round pick. And I think after this weekend, he probably is going to move up a little bit.
And he's going to do good in the combine, especially with like the agility stuff, because he's got quick hips. I don't see him slipping out of the second round, maybe like early third round. But if you're a team like the Chiefs in the second round and Roman Wilson's
he's going to be scary in the NFL.
You got Rashee Rice on the him, and you can get a slot receiver like him.
Oh my gosh!
You know what I love doing, guys? For him? Real quick and quickly before I do this stuff, I want to ask you, Gentry, the whole trading up for a defensive lineman thing. Where are you at with that? Because I think corner you can go get later in the draft. To be honest,
yeah, no, I mean obviously we've talked about it all year, and what we've talked about getting to the quarterback, and that's been our biggest problem. If we're gonna trade up, that's got to be the position for it, and I don't really think there's any offensive linemen that or like a guard or anything that we're going to draft in the first round. So it's got to be defensive end. And I do think that we explore free agency or even trade for a cornerback. So it's got to be defensive end. And when you look after really like the second round, you're not going to really get any guys in the level of like skill between those guys, between the first rounders is such a huge gap this year compared to past years. Like there's really not that many sleepers as much as we do trust Brad Holmes to do his thing, but like this draft looking like pretty slim.
Yeah. This right here, perfect comment. Ryan Shaw, Kool-Aid McKinstry, or Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is nice too.
I saw today Nate Wiggins is going to be gone like quick.
Yeah.
He's just not the type of guy to fall.
Yeah, well, he's
projected 15th in the
he's
draft.
like the Gonzo of this draft.
Good thing I got Tankathon loaded up.
That's what I've been looking at here.
So, I mean,
go to number 15.
Number one. Yeah, I mean, JJ McCarthy at 12 is criminal, but I'll just leave that alone.
Dude, I can't believe they have versed out of the top 10. That makes no sense to me.
Hey, can you do a PFF draft live on here? Bust one out, Jeff.
Oh, we should do that.
Should we make a
No.
Not this time, but in the future.
No mock drafts until after the Super Bowl.
Don't tease.
That's fair.
I live for mock drafts.
Maybe
we'll do that. Hey, you know what? We could do it. We could do it next week.
And then we can have we'll each have a pick, and then we'll let chat do we'll put up like a poll, like the 4 players we think of, and the chat picks it.
We can do mock draft Mondays.
Yep. I'm down.
I didn't hear anything. I just lost you there.
Mock draft Mondays. That's all you missed.
Yeah, maybe we start that next Monday.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
good idea.
All right,
now that'll be our first one. Hey, real quick before I want to say this, I saw Easy Does It said it in there, and I thought the same thing. I was literally about to say it a couple minutes ago. The Detroit Lions, one of the big needs they needed to get in this draft, they better draft a kicker this year. Go get me a kicker. I don't the Alabama
or
kicker.
Bring Matt Prater home.
Do something. Address that. That's like a number one. Go get me a kicker, please. Or Justin Tucker, is he a free agent?
He's right though. He kind of is right.
Gentry's like, do a mock draft. Jeff's like, huh? Mock draft?
Yeah. Well, me and Adam did a lot of those. Iafrate looking like a failed top chef contestant. What is that supposed to mean? What the hell does that mean?
The black shirt, the
You're
backwards
a failed
black
cook
hat.
or chef, I should say.
Damn.
You look like you'd be a greasy chef.
Damn.
Back of Frickers flipping wings.
Hey, well.
Smoking cigs on your break.
Yeah. Okay, that's where I draw the line, all right?
Dude, I used to work at this pizza place in high school, and they messed up because I was like 16, 17. I'd work there Friday nights. I'd close, and they'd send me into the beer cooler, like the big fridge. Oh, I'd be lost for like 10 minutes. Come back, flipping pizzas. I'd go to town.
Yeah, I would. I don't want Klotz in my restaurant, dude.
Dude, if
making my pizza.
If he's like, hey, I'm working at a restaurant now, boys, come by. I'll cook you guys something. I'm good.
Well, I want to put this on the screen. Here's who the Lions selected. Here's who they have. So at 29, they select Kamari. Lassiter? Oh, Lassiter.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I don't like it. I'm starting to fall on the Lucas train. No, I don't want a corner in the first.
If Chop Robinson's there, you trade up and you get Chop Robinson.
Yeah, Chop Robinson. Yeah,
no, I just don't like corners in the back end of the first round, man. Like,
yeah, I don't.
After like the 20 mark, they're a project almost.
I think I'm on Lucas's side with this. And as we go through, obviously, this is the start of the mock draft season and everything. I'm kind of on Lucas's side. I would rather just go out and get a corner in free agency and draft a defensive end in the first round.
Yeah,
I'm fully on that.
Well,
defensive ends in the first round, they work out way more than corners in the first round.
Well,
I feel like that's a fact.
And I know this might offend people, but I'm a big positional value guy. Like I think if you're going to take White Claw Lucas up in this bitch, yeah, well, hopefully he doesn't have White Claw, right? I'm Modelo.
So what you're telling me, Jeff, is you're not a fan of the Jahmyr Gibbs pick?
I mean, I wasn't, but he's a great player. That's just how I feel. I think Howie Roseman, and how he does.
I think I lost you boys for a second. Hold up.
How Howie Roseman approaches the draft. That's just kind of how I would do it if I was a GM, right? You take offensive, defensive lineman in the first round. I know Brad Holmes took a running back. It worked out. He's a great player. I just think there are exceptions for running backs, and Jahmyr has proven to be an exception. Is that fair? There's certain running backs you're going to be like, hey, this guy's just too good.
Yeah, I see a lot of people in the chat too saying it's a deep corner draft. If it's a deep corner draft, and I have to dive into this more, I think if you trade up, get a defensive end, and then in the second round you get a pick in the second round, and you go corner then, and you kind of get a guy there then, and that's kind of where I'm first glance here and kind of first thought. Yeah, first glance and first thought on this draft right now. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards, to where, hey, let's go after a D end, let's trade up or something, and if you can get back in the second round, go get yourself a corner if it's a deep corner draft.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like right in the first round, you take a defensive lineman. In the second round, typically that's where you can find corners. I know Brian Branch fell. He was a safety.
Forbes last year.
Yeah, Forbes. He went higher than I thought he would. I thought he would go in the second round, but he went middle of the first round, which was kind of surprising.
I thought he dropped. I don't know why.
He went higher than I even thought. I like Forbes, but again, like even Forbes, he had a bad first year. Like he didn't have a great first year. A lot of corners, man. It takes some time.
A little bit.
Yeah, he was getting cooked. So I'm with you guys. I think if you're going to take somebody, you're taking a defensive lineman. John asked, or do you guys think a second round cornerback outplays Sutton? I mean, we got to watch.
Dude, Joey Porter Jr. was the second round pick last year.
Like,
if you have a deep corner draft and they drop, I mean, you could find someone in the second round.
I don't know where you're at, Gentry, with it, but for me with Cam Sutton, he did not look good in the second half of the season and in the playoffs. He did not.
No,
but we did see him at the beginning of the season look really good, and then he got hurt, and then things started kind of spiraling. I don't think he's a number one corner. Where are you at with Cam Sutton there?
I don't think he's a number one corner, but I think he's a great cornerback number two. And I don't want to say he was put in a position to fail, because he did have a stretch of games where he was playing well, but it's just like you said, the second half of the season, things kind of got out of control, spiraled out. But I think if you do get another elite corner, which I don't think it's going to be through the draft, I think if you want to, you're going to have to go get that cornerback one through free agency. Lucas, welcome back. And then you kind of just push Cam Sutton to cornerback two, and I think he'll be way more comfortable there. Yeah. And I think you'll kind of see more of that first half of the season of Cam Sutton, what you saw.
Yeah, it looked like he was better at responding to DMs than covering a wide receiver in the second half.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
That he looked like he was better at taking shots. But regardless, I don't know. It depends on who you draft, right? I mean, you find Slay was a second round pick, and look at him. I mean,
yeah.
Look at that, Lucas with the 3G. What's going on with the internet?
I told you, crackheads. They're going at my router, man.
Toledo crackhead. Hey, never trust him. Someone asked a question, Lucas, we were kind of answering, is do you believe a second round cornerback can come in and outplace Cam Sutton? I think with the second half of the year, absolutely. I mean, with how he looks, I just don't know if that's truly Cam Sutton. I don't know.
And if they do bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson, you can argue that if they sign somebody in free agency, Cam Sutton goes down to your cornerback three if they just run Brian Branch in the slot. And I know it would be Branch on the perimeter, but at that point, I mean, a lot of teams, they put their best wide receiver in the slot. Justin Jefferson, a lot of times he's in the slot. Devontae Adams, he's in the slot. Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, you can go down the list. A lot of players, they put the X wide receivers in the slot. So Brian Branch being there, you can have Brian Branch as your one or your two.
Hey, Adam's dead on.
Yeah.
Because you have so much cap space.
And for people listening, potentially, Adam Baydoun, can we acknowledge that Brad Holmes needs to be more dialed in this offseason and via free agency and trades? Draft isn't enough. Yeah, because you're getting to a point where the expectations raise. And I know he's done a really good job of finding young players that are comfortable in these big time environments, but that's not always the case. Like, you can't rely on rookies to come in and like they did this year, be some of your more important players on a team that made it to the NFC Championship game. You're going to have to get veterans. You're going to have to get guys that have resumes in this league. So to Adam's point, like, yeah, I think the focus this year, he's always going to be good in the draft, but you got to lean on free agency. You got to bring in some proven talent.
The free agency too. This is the most money he's had. He's got top five free agent money. Like, he has his cap space is huge right now. So he's going to be tested and re-signing guys and bringing new guys in. We're gonna see what Brad can do in that. I think he's going to do fine because last year he went and got D-Mott. He got CJ Gardner-Johnson. This year though, it's kind of like, all right, you have to take another step here and go out and even get that next level. But Dan did mention too this week, and I don't want people to forget, like, they're not just going to bring a big name in just because they want to bring a big name in. They're going to bring guys that fit like what they're building. I do think there's big names that will be able to fit that. So like Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa, like those guys who are going to get cut and you're going to have to pay some money. But hey, if you're willing to do that and they're the right culture fit, go be aggressive. Go do that. Like Easy said, be aggressive.
Easy's comment. I expect Brad to be aggressive because this is the last dance. Assuming he's talking about with Ben Johnson. I was going to bring that up.
Though.
What?
I agree to disagree with that comment.
I'm with you, Boone.
Like, be aggressive. Yes, this is not the last dance. Like, Brad's building long-term success here. That's
I don't know about last dance, but he is right about, like, you got Ben for another year. Like, I think I will say this. I think Brad will be more aggressive, especially come the trade deadline. Is that fair? If there's holes in the team, I think he'll be a suitor rather than, a guy who just this year kind of chilled back and just been like, you know what, I'll take a break here. I think he will be aggressive because it's Super Bowl. I mean, really, guys, if you think about it, and this is an uncomfortable conversation for organizations like the Lions who have not had expectations, and now you have real expectations. Like, to me, it's NFC Championship is the floor. Like, they got to get back to the NFC Championship.
Hey, welcome to my world, Jeffrey.
That's how it is. I mean, Booner, they made it, so now that's what's tough about this thing. Like, you got real expectations. Like, if you don't make an NFC Championship appearance, someone you got to point the finger.
100%. You have to be in the NFC. It's like the 49ers this year.
And the reason I say it's Super Bowl or bust is because you had that NFC Championship game in your hand. You had that game 24. You were up 17 at halftime. You won that game and you let it go. You showed that you could win that game. And if you get into the Super Bowl, to your guys' point earlier, but more so Easy's point of having Ben Johnson, this is a last dance. If Ben Johnson leaves, there is going to be some type of regression at the beginning of the season. So you're not guaranteed to get that 1 seed. I think the Lions is 1 seed or bust. And if you're the 1 seed, you are the team that is supposed to come out of the NFC. And if the Lions have that fire under their ass from the NFC Championship game, like I expect they do, there's no team that's going to be better than them in the NFC, and they have to win the Super Bowl. Go ahead, Booner. Sorry.
I do agree with Adam to where Super Bowl or bust is a little kind of over the top. I don't think in the NFL you even hear that a lot. Maybe just the 49ers who for the last 5 years that they were in the NFC Championship game. And Jeff, I see the look, and it's probably because, the Booner path. But at the end of the day, and I say this with the Booner. No, listen. Are you guys going to stop?
I am.
Are you going to stop laughing or are you going to listen to me?
I just knew what it was.
Now let's listen. I said it all year long. That's why I never guaranteed a Lions Super Bowl, was because, listen, there's a reason they're plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl. It's tough to do it. This is the NFL. This isn't college football. This isn't high school. This isn't this is the NFL. You have the best of the best. You have 10 teams every year going into it that can go win a Super Bowl. Now, the Lions, can they go do it? Yeah, they can do it. And that's why they're fourth best odds to go do it. But I think if you're talking about the floor, and just like I guaranteed this year, that I said this year, they're going to the NFC Championship game, they will do the same thing next year. Now, when you're in the 49ers position and you were in the NFC Championship game 4 out of the last 5 seasons and you still couldn't win a Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl or bust for them. And you're seeing that this year. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm expecting them to go win a Super Bowl next year. Like I said, the next 3 or 4 years, they're going to get a Super Bowl within the next 3 or 4 seasons. That's a lock, guaranteed. But I'm going to put that down. But what I'm saying is Super Bowl or bust already. It's like, okay, we're in the NFL, fellas. This isn't like Michigan going up and they're like minus 200 favorites to win the national championship.
That's Lucas. You could
they're plus 1,200 guys.
But I understand that, but Booner, obviously you can say that's every team's goal, but if you're a top 4 team, and I think they're a top 3 team, because I would say the Chiefs, they might have it over the Lions in the Super Bowl based off the way that they've been playing lately. But if the Lions and Ravens played, I think that would be a much different conversation than what happened in the regular season. Either way, If you're a top 4, top 5 team, your whole goal is to win the Super Bowl.
I agree. I agree.
And
but to say a bust, it's
Super
like
Bowl. Well, what if you lose in the NFC Championship game again? So so you win the NFC. Now you're in the Super Bowl. What's the season worth then?
Okay,
Absolutely
so Lucas,
nothing.
you go to the NFC Championship, you win the NFC Championship, and you do go to the Super Bowl, and you lose in the Super Bowl next year. You're going to be like, that was a failed season. No, you played in the Super Bowl, dude. Like, it's tough
not
to
a
win the Super
failed
Bowl.
season, but it's like
easy. No, they're plus 1,200 after Ben Johnson too. By the way, they're still plus 1,200.
If you're in the Super Bowl, Booner, I don't see how it's like, okay, we are supposed to be here. I think every Lions fan, realistically, it's not outrageous to say you expect the Lions in the Super Bowl next year. We all can see that happening.
I agree. That's the
so
path to winning the Super Bowl.
The organization, the roster, and the fans all believe Lions in the Super Bowl. By default, it's Super Bowl or bust then.
So let's meet in the middle here. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Super Bowl appearance or bust?
Maybe, but if you're there, it's Super Bowl or bust, man. Like, I don't see the point in like.
Dude, no. Dude, you're stuck in this part to where it's like when you're a contender, like when you're a top 4 in the league, you're considered a contender. You should be contending for a Super Bowl, but you're over here being like they have to win the Super Bowl or the season's a failure. No, not at all, dude. Not at all.
We can agree.
I'm not off the Booner Pat. The Booner Pat, they're winning a Super Bowl. They're winning a Super Bowl in the next couple of years. I think they do it next year. I think they do it next year.
Okay,
I'm not going to sit up here and say if they go to the Super Bowl and they lose by a field goal that it was such a failed season. Like no, like that. Like what a season.
You can have multiple Super Bowl or bust years, though, in my opinion. Like it's not like this year's Super Bowl or bust. Next year they can't win a Super Bowl. You can have multiple, like the Bills Super Bowl or bust. The Eagles this year, because the thing is, too, Super Bowl hangovers are a real thing.
When
if you lose, like that's an impact.
When a team is making a run and they're in their 4th year, their 5th year of being really good like the Bills, and they just haven't gotten it done, that's when you start being like, hey, this train's going to end soon. You're in your 5th year of trying to get to the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust for you. The San Francisco 49ers, they're in year 4, year 5 of trying to go and win one. It's Super Bowl or bust for you,
right,
dude. You're in your 4th or 5th year. The Lions literally just went to their first NFC Championship. And anyone right now, the Booner Path is – they're going to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl next year. I am not saying that they're not going to do that.
And say that. Booner, you're speaking both sides. Like I'm with Lucas, and I'll tell you why. Look at the top of the NFC next year. Who's up there? Eagles, Super Bowl or bust. 49ers, Super Bowl or bust. Lions, it's okay if it's Super Bowl or bust. That's how that works.
Dude, you can't have 8 teams Super Bowl or bust. That's not how
Booner,
that
when
term
you're one
works,
of the best teams in your conference, it's by default Super Bowl or bust.
No, so
even the Bills
being good Super Bowl.
The Bills, if you're the Bills made an AFC
starting to
title
get frustrated.
Game, the Bills
listen, Jeff. Michigan last year. No, Jeff.
Booner,
hear me out. I want to go step by step here.
Booner,
let me go step by step. Look at Michigan last year. Michigan football team last year was not national championship or bust. They lost 2. Lucas, stop.
They lost.
The year before. Let me talk real quick. Let me explain this. For 2 years, they went to the college football playoffs, right? They didn't win. They lost their first game. Every year they went to it, it wasn't national championship or bust. But when they lost 2 times in the college football playoffs, at that point, you go, listen, at this point, you just lost twice in there. It's national championship or bust. And you're the favorite. The Detroit Lions aren't the favorite. They're 4th. They're plus 1,200 still. And they just went to their first one. They're going to go. I'm going to be all year long, and I'm going to put the bets on it and everything. They're going to go win a Super Bowl. But you have to be realistic to where Super Bowl or bust or national championship or bust or this or bust, that's not just a term just to throw around. Like, that's like when a team's like been going and going and going and they're not getting the job done. That's when you do it.
No.
You're talking about a contender.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Let me ask you this. And then, Lucas, you and Gentry, feel free after that. I just want to ask Booner. Bills made the AFC title game. For a while there, they were irrelevant with Josh Allen. They made the AFC title game. What were the expectations for next season?
Were you asking the question?
I was asking the question. What were their expectations for next season after they made the AFC title game years ago?
Go to the Super Bowl. Not bust, though.
No. What are you talking about?
I just don't like the term Super Bowl or bust. I don't like the term. Maybe that's just myself.
But we're not looking at the window of the team. We're looking at the window of the season, just the season itself. The Lions should be able to win a Super Bowl. The Lions have so much built up from being off the NFC
I
Championship
agree,
game.
and they're going to be my Super Bowl pick next year. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
So
That's
then,
gonna be
by
my pick.
default, okay, you can change the wording, but by default, and me and Jeff, and I would assume Gentry, we haven't really heard from him. After this, I want to hear from him. That's Super Bowl or bust. But Gentry, go ahead.
Yeah, Gentry, solve this for us. What's going on? What the hell?
I don't think the Lions are, honestly, after 1 year, obviously they had this great run, but I don't think anyone besides Booner was saying it was NFC Championship or bust going into this year. So I just have a hard time saying it's Super Bowl or bust. Obviously, they could have made it, and all things considered, they should have made it. But I would say you bare minimum next year, you have to be back in the NFC Championship game. You have to be facing the 49ers or whoever it is. And then you hope that they take the leap and make it to the Super Bowl. But I'm not saying if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's all over. It's a disappointment. Their window is still very long, like Booner said, and it's not going away soon. They're going to be contending for NFC championships and Super Bowls for a lot of years to come. And a lot of these teams, whether we like it or not, still may be a little bit farther along than the Lions going into next year. So I'm not going to say it's Super Bowl or bust.
So we move on. All right, and Gentry very well said. I think we can all agree.
Kind of what I was saying in a calmer voice. I appreciate you.
So we can agree that it would be very disappointing. I just don't think Booner likes the word bust. Pause.
That's I just think what would be really more disappointing is where the bust kind of comes in is that's where it's if you don't make the NFC Championship game, season's a failure. And I think with it's the same thing, Jeff, I try to explain to you this year when it came to ceiling. It's their ceiling to me this year was to get to a Super Bowl or an NFC Championship game. And you were like, no, my ceiling, I just think they're going to win one playoff game. And that was your ceiling. I think it's bust. If we're talking about an actual season's done, bad season, it was an unsuccessful season if you don't make the NFC Championship game. And that's where the bust comes in. And I think that's a bare minimum. It's NFC Championship or bust. And then next year you take that step and go to a Super Bowl and win the thing, dude. But Super Bowl or bust, you haven't even got there yet. And I'm the leader of the Booner path. And I say this all the time. I'm going to be very, very honest with people. I think next year they can go win it. But it's a failure of a season if you don't even make the NFC Championship game. That should be the bare minimum. That should be an NFC Championship game or bust. And if you don't make that game, season is a complete failure.
That sounds scared.
Not at all. That's realistic.
I'm not saying
all right.
I'm not doing this.
All right, we'll move on.
Dude.
We'll move on. We spent too much time.
We're moving on. No, we're moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like all semantics, like Ryan Shaw's. It really is semantics. All right, let's move on. Dove Kleiman put this out. The Lions and QB Jared Goff will negotiate a contract extension this offseason, making Goff one of the higher paid quarterbacks in the NFL, guys. There's nothing there that says a discount.
Okay, but keep in mind who this is. Well, I guess he's reporting from Rap.
Yeah, hold on. Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
So
I hope.
I think the discussion of will Goff take a hometown discount in a way, hometown meaning a friendly discount for this team to be, to have more money to spend. I don't know, boys. I think, and Goff has every right to. I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve it. I'm not going to say it. Now, preferably you'd like him to take a discount, but guys, higher paid means he's going to be around that 50 mark. That's what I think of higher paid. Because higher paid, Daniel Jones makes 40, guys. The floor's there. I mean, the floor's there. And I don't think he asked for 45. You think he's $5 million better than Daniel Jones?
No.
How many more million do you think he's better than
$10 million better than Daniel Jones?
And how many more million do you think he's better than Kyler Murray? Russell Wilson?
That's what I think. He's going to be 3 years, $150 million. He's going to be right above Russ and then right below Hurts. That's where they're going to slot him at.
That's a beautiful number. I think 153 years, that's perfect. I think you just walk away with that. I'm interested in, what kind of makes me a little nervous? I think Jared Goff would sit down and say, hey, I'll take a bit of a discount. In his press conference, though, he kind of mentioned, hey, I'm not involved in any of these talks. They'll figure that stuff out. So I do have a feeling that his agent's going to try and squeeze a little bit of money out. And that's what I don't want to happen. The 150, though, the 50 million right on the dot, 3 years. I think that's perfect. And I think you just move on from that because I say it all the time. You have a quarterback that is winning you football games. You're not guaranteed to get another quarterback like that. Stay with that guy for the next few years and stick with it. I see Easy saying Oh, he said I won't delete myself. It's only 3 years. Like
I'm with them.
with or without Ben.
Nothing over 3.
Yeah, and I think 3 because that extends it through what's the year? Because he already has this next
He's
year.
got
and then
4 years, so that would be like
so it'll be
2028,
4 years.
2029 probably.
Yeah.
And then you can make the decision after that.
And Lloyd says 40 to 45 million is what a lot of people are saying. I'm going to be honest.
That would be a steal.
That would be.
I would
that
like
would
it,
be
but
That's
great.
not happening.
But it's not. I just don't see it. I think Big Play Jay's more closer to the ballpark, 45 to 48. I mean, if he gets paid 50 guys, that would put him roughly on, if you're comparing average per year salary. Appreciate Carl Collins.
Shout out Carl, man.
Dude, he's been killing it.
Go, man. Yeah, he's great at what he does, dude.
Well deserved too.
Well deserved. If you're paying him 50, that would put him around top 5 money. So, I mean, it's not.
You have to
not
see
always the player, but it's also when you get paid that matters because you always have to jump the prior guy. I think Jared would take a deal like that. I don't see him asking any less than 45. I think 45 would be like the bare, like him taking a friendly discount would be 45.
How great would it be if we came across our phones 40 million, like 3 years?
Oh, it'd be great.
Like 3 years, 120 million.
Guys, we have a mystery caller. He has a question. Go ahead, caller.
Hey guys, I have a question about Jared Goff.
Here, put it closer, will you?
The money, but I think we're looking too much into this. What do you guys think about them front loading the money with dollars the first year, and then it's like $34 million over the next 2-3 years? I don't fucking know. I don't think Goff's contract is.
Hold on. I think.
Yeah, see, that's what happens when you have Adam on the phone. It just takes your internet out.
I don't think that was Adam. I don't know who that was.
No, that was definitely Adam.
No, I don't know. That was a mystery caller.
Mystery caller. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what happens. So,
I don't hate the front end. Hey, whoever that mystery caller was, the front end.
The feds. You put Adam on the phone, the feds get you. That's how that is.
That was it. I like that actually idea though, because that's like a Geno Smith deal to where he got his front ended or front loaded, and then
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're able to pay guys. You're in a couple years, you're going to pay Hutch, Kirby. Like there's dudes you're going to have to pay. Front end it, pay them next year. If you could somehow do that, I don't know if you're able to do it next year and the year after, and then you're good. That did sound very Italian. I'm not going to lie. That was like an Italian caller for sure.
Yeah, but him talking about front loading it, honestly,
I don't hate the idea. I mentioned that in the offseason. I said front load the contract, do a Geno Smith deal, and move on.
Yeah, which would be great. It'd be ideal. And I think Jared would be open. I mean, Jared wants to win, guys. Like he wants to get it. He wants to win a Super Bowl. So I think
Brad's going to be thinking that too when he's giving Jared his contract. Obviously, he wants to put his team in the best position to win. So he's going to try and finagle it any way that will benefit them and benefit Jared at the same time. So
that's on. No excuses, boys. No excuses. we still have the caller. We still have the caller online.
All right.
Caller, speak real quick. Make sure we can hear you.
What the fuck? Like, fix this guy's internet. I'm trying to fucking watch a show here, and this guy cuts out every 10 minutes. Stop being a fucking cheap ass. All right?
Yeah, spitting facts.
Yeah, he's out.
Are you guys actually concerned about his contract? I need to know.
No,
we're not concerned. And,
contract will get done, man.
It's going to get done, and we're okay with that.
No, I mean the financial aspect. Like, I don't think this is going to hurt them like a Dak Prescott or one of these like shitty contracts, Ryan Tannehill. I don't think it affects them. They're paying nobody right now, so I don't think it fucking matters. But anyways, that's my question. Go fuck yourselves. I love you guys too much. Bye.
Love you.
Hey, appreciate you, Mr. Caller.
Mr. Caller. I agree with it. I agree with him. It's not going to affect your cap. Like, it's going to be what it is.
Oh, look at Spencer. By the way, Spencer's my barber. He is my barber. Spencer, he took care of me today. I'm not gonna lie to you. Took care of you.
Shout out.
But Spencer, how would you guys feel if we signed Goff and got Daniel Jones? Well, we're not gonna get Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones is butt cheeks, and you know that, Spencer. He is butt cheeks. So no. But he got 40. I mean, by the way, what blows my mind is how the Giants paid him before they paid Saquon. I mean, and if you don't believe in paying running backs, that's a whole nother thing. But like the fact that you gave Daniel Jones 40 for 4 years is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
That's some SOL stuff.
Yeah,
they got some SOG stuff going on over there.
that's bad.
And I like to your guys' point, I don't see a way that like Jared Goff just falls off with how this team's built. There's just no like he can just hand the ball off, hand that bitch off.
Jared, I mean, it's been proven. Jared, like he could play. Like it's that he can win and he can play football. So like I'm not that worried. Like Daniel Jones had one good year and then got paid and then.
But
he didn't even win. He just went to a playoff.
It's built around Jared and built for his strengths. He's not just going to take a shit and be terrible all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, again, to Adam's point, Mr. Caller's point, front loading the contract would be sweet. Because then again, you have guys on rookie contracts they could still afford to pay when the time is right. So that's okay. Yeah, Steve Lehman, Jared is in his element with play action. Yeah, but honestly, one of the, if not the best play action quarterback in the NFL. Like, say what you want about him. Like, when he has a run game and he's protected, he's as good as any quarterback. But that's the thing. Like, that helps most quarterbacks. I mean, if you can run the ball and you're protected, yeah, you're gonna play well. Adam Baydoun, I don't think Goff's money is going to affect anything. Yeah, I mean, it's 3 years is the key for me, guys. 3 years. Like no longer, please.
I even the front end deal, like front end it, so the cap hit isn't bad on the back end. Like there's just so many things they can do. Brad, dude, look at what Brad's done with the salary cap. Like look how much money you have. Like he's gonna make sure you don't get screwed at the end of the day. The cap's going up every year. Like he's gonna make sure you're not putting yourself in financial harm when it comes to Jared Goff, and they're gonna keep him around.
Let's see. Robin's Nest, the cap will be going up also.
Yeah, that's very true.
That guy up north, how does 50 plus not affect salary cap? No, it affects salary cap. I think he means it won't affect anything.
The cap
affording,
and I don't think people realize how much the cap's going up because I was looking at it a couple weeks ago. Like it does, like the next 3, like because next year you're not going to have a big hit on Jared Goff. It's not that. I think it's going to be like 30 something, and it's going to go up next year. It's going to go up the year after. In 2 years, when it does really hit you and that cap does hit, the salary cap's going to be a lot higher. There's going to be a lot more quarterback deals that are being done. So this quarterback deal you get done with Jared Goff this year isn't going to be that crazy in 2 years when you're that deal really kind of hits in place. So
yeah, and easy throws in there 3 years with an option out in year 3.
Yeah.
Sorry.
To the mystery caller's point, like Jared Goff is no Ryan Tannehill. Like he's Ryan Tannehill got traded from the Dolphins. He was sitting there in Tennessee. He was sitting behind Marcus Mariota. Mariota goes down. Now teams really don't know how to game plan for Ryan Tannehill. And you're throwing slants to A.J. Brown and handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. You're going to look really good, especially with the AFC South back then. So I just think, even to the Daniel Jones point, there's no way that those are the same type of quarterbacks as Jared Goff.
Dude,
Tannehill looked good for like 2 years total, and Daniel Jones has had like 1 good year. So
yeah,
it's just
Goff's proven at this point.
What did Daniel Jones? I mean, like
he didn't even have a good year that one year. It wasn't even crazy.
It wasn't like anything crazy.
He just won a playoff game. Like
guys,
he won in Minnesota, a fraud Minnesota team, and they were just like
his good year was 15 touchdown passes and 5 picks. Like
gritty
quarterback.
He's a tone setter.
I mean, yeah, he ran for 700 yards and scored 7 times on the ground, but like, dude, Goff had double the passing touchdowns. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
and he's done that multiple times throughout his career.
And again, I'm not even gonna get into the Daniel Jones thing, but like that. I don't think you sign Goff and there's this significant regression. And by the way, one of those years, the first start of that 3-year deal, because he's under contract for 1 more year, I believe, right? And then it's expired. So the first year, technically, of that 3-year deal, let's just assume they give him one, would be without Ben. So you're going to find out quickly, and I think they'll have a replacement for him. So I think the offense will be somewhat similar. You just won't have the same play caller.
Yeah, especially if they backload it too.
Dark Flame, Tommy DeVito better than Jones. I stamp that, by the way.
If you just leave all the money kind of to the back end of that 3rd year of the option, so you keep that window open when you need to re-sign Panay, Amon-Ra, Hutch, etc. Hopefully they would do that as well.
Man, the chat is on one today, dude. Detroit Denver 3-on-3 was inevitable. A team would pay that quarterback that much. I pay a quarterback that much, but I probably still always hold it against the Giants anyway. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if you're the Giants or any team, you're paying a quarterback. Like you got to think. You're also paying on like projection, but like no one's projecting Daniel. Like no, hell no.
That we can't even hold that against Jared Goff. That's just bad management.
Because Jared has at least Jared has a resume. an impressive resume in playoffs.
There would be teams that would definitely overpay what the Lions would give Goff. And I don't think Goff is even looking at what those teams are offering. So you got to look like somebody out there would overpay for Jared.
Yo, shout out Chris Lind. Yeah. Mike?
Hey, he can't deny. He can't deny.
Yeah, I'm not.
He got red. He got really red there too.
I'm red because I've been in Florida for a week.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, we all are like extremely white, and then Mike's just extremely tan.
Mike just shows up tan, mustache, no pants on. Like, yeah, Mike Gentry's ready to
go. Ready to go, baby. Come on now.
Come on now. Speak easy. Panay, Alim, Amon Ross St. Brown, Iffy, maybe even Barnes if you want to keep them all coming up this offseason /next.
Are you guys like, are we re-signing Derek Barnes?
I mean, it's not like again.
I know he's not a free agent, but is it the future? Like, are you bringing back Derek Barnes, or would you? I'm
see
saying
what he does next year.
Next year will be the real tell on that.
Devin White.
Yeah, I mean, dude. Derek Barnes. I'm not going to sit here and like make the case for Derek Barnes.
Move on.
Not like the end all be all, but
move on.
Yeah. To me, Derek Barnes is like an appetizer. It's like, do you want it or not? It doesn't matter to me. Like,
he's an appetizer. He's mott sticks.
Yeah, he's some mozzarella sticks. Like, you want some? You're like, I'm okay. Like, I could go without it. Like that's how Derek Barnes is, man.
I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. Spencer, shout out to you, man. By the way, go check out Joey's barbershop in New Haven. They take care of me, man. They do. They do a good job. And they're fans of what we do. So they're family. Matabuke come home. I'm with Spencer. He's my
Bring
God.
Him home.
Bring that man home.
I'm a simp for Matabuke.
Can't coach that. Can't coach that.
No, you can't. You can't coach that. You just can't. No.
Hey, some of these comments, dude, they kill me.
Yeah, dude. They're
King is a different level, dude. He is on another level.
Easy.
He's the funniest dude in this chat.
Easy's getting sniped out here.
Dude, everyone knows.
Full shield, full health. Easy's gone.
Yeah. Mike G. Shout out Mike G. Woo. Crunch time.
Mike G. Man.
Mike G's
Let's go.
He's a real one. Steven David Gentry looking like an off-duty
I might be off duty. You never know.
Ryan Lentz, Jeff, I'm coming over. I'm going to leave the door locked so you can't come in. There you go. Devin, $5. Thank you for that. Draft talk here. Am I the only one that kind of wants a D tackle more than a D end in the first, or is a D tackle more valuable in the second?
I think with
available.
Yeah, and I think with the Alim McNeill, I think I don't know. I want someone on the other side of Hutch.
Yeah,
we talk about how valuable that is.
If there's a guy that's like falling for no reason, that's an interior defensive lineman, and there's kind of a gap between the edge, that's when I think you take a defensive tackle and you don't even think twice.
That's just really the best overall player between those two positions. Whoever's there, that's who I would prefer.
Yeah.
But wouldn't hate it either way.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind it. And to me, and that's why I said with Alim, like he's a great player, but still, like if you could upgrade from Benito Jones, I'm not saying he's bad, but he also, you got to upgrade from Benito Jones. Like you need somebody. I wish they had two Alim McNeils, or like maybe
if you could finish off your full offensive, not your full offensive line, but if you can add the other bookend.
What is?
I would rather go with Benito and finish the bookend off.
Benito Jones, please.
He really did compare Barnes to mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, what would Benito Jones be then? Be the water.
Barnes
the
to
water.
Mozzarella sticks. It's fucking. Hey, he's an appetizer. Easy, like you. Sometimes you're hungry and you take it. Sometimes you're like, fuck it, I don't want Derek Barnes. Like I'm cool with that. You can hold it.
Dude,
maybe next time.
I order some mott sticks every time I sit down at the table, man. Swear, mott sticks are they're
I
good.
believe it,
Boone, that is such. Oh
hey,
God,
Gentry. What happened?
Yes, I know.
Oh, I just got a point.
What happened? What happened, Gentry?
I'm not too sure. I had it up on my phone, but I just closed it. I got it on the room behind me, but They lost an OT, I see.
Lucas is like, what happened? Like he just
walk
wasn't
us
on
through
the
your
show.
thoughts right
Like he
now.
just wasn't on the show for an hour. Like he was watching the game. Like,
Well, yeah, I feel like I felt like
Yeah,
Gentry
no.
had the game pulled up somewhere.
Yeah, no, I did for a second. Then I was kind of getting dozed off
See?
while you were talking about the Booner path. But
Hey, why'd you have to come on?
That's a stray.
no, it's just you guys were going back and forth, and it was a good game, But no, obviously it's tough because they always lose to the Senators. It seems like, and you want to win that game for Larkin after obviously what happened. But they've had a really good streak leading into the All-Star break, and curious to see what moves will be made with the team. But I don't know, man. I think they're built for the playoffs. But obviously they've had this good run. They got to keep it going. The schedule doesn't get easier; it just gets harder from here. So,
Yeah, they have a tough February, man. I looked at the schedule. Tough.
Yeah.
Someone posted it today, and I was checking it out. Man, Gentry will be doing Red Wings content. By the way,
Yeah,
he'll be cooking.
Hey,
Yeah.
I put a bet on at the beginning of the year. Nick, from our crew from the other show, he at the beginning of the year, it was like the biggest
Green
time.
team.
Yeah, it was like the biggest bet. It was the biggest bet I put on of the year almost, and it was he like convinced me that the Wings to make the playoffs. It was like plus 130 or something, and I just went all in on it, and now I'm sweating it out. I think it's like it's moved to like plus 250, plus 270, and I'm just sweating it out.
Sorry, these comments are funny as hell. Juices
Sorry,
go.
Boone, sorry.
Benito Jones is
Lock in, fellas. What are we doing here?
You if you save room
Chad
for when
making
you
me
got
laugh.
to.
People are entertaining
Is
me.
it a comedy show or is this a show?
Spencer says Benito Jones is a stuffed mushroom. Looks good, but is it?
It's a good one.
It's perfect.
Oh, bro, that's funny as hell. Oh my gosh, man.
Hey, all respect to Benito, though. Valuable member of the team.
This assless chat, man. That was a
I fucking love you guys.
Chris Linton, do we not talk about the Pistons, or does it make everyone want to kill themselves? Well, Chris,
Who's the Pistons?
You know you know, and Mike, you call me one all the time. I'm a slappy a little bit for the Pistons. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Did they win?
Slappy. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. This last 2 weeks, I haven't watched a single sport besides the Lions game. I have not watched anything. Nothing.
It's not worth your time. I don't blame you. It's not worth the time.
Well, even the Red Wings, like I haven't even had time to tune in, but like the Pistons, I'll check. But like even I haven't tuned in anything.
Can you guys
Go ahead,
smell
Bill.
mullet?
Yes, Booner.
What?
Hey, Jeff,
You
one
ready?
shot on him. One shot on him, Jeff.
Wait, hold on.
Go
let
ahead,
me-
Boone. Show it off, Boone.
Coach Walk confirmed that the Pistons
hold on.
lost.
Oh, got to put it on yourself
no,
first.
hold on. I
God damn.
Jeff might be the worst TD of all time.
there you go.
There you go. Show it off, Boone. Yeah, that's flowing. That's looking pretty, Boone.
Huh?
That's looking pretty.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yo, what? What?
Hey, go all yeah.
What's wrong with it?
What are we doing?
Oh
Man
man.
got a solo shot on the mullet. Like what? Is
Someone in there, Ike made a comment about the hair, so I was like, I want to show off the mullet.
Yeah, Booner. Lock in, Booner. Lock in.
All right, let's talk some sports now. Everyone lock in. We got to get back on
What
track.
just happened?
Let's get back on track. Jeff, you skipped the whole segment that I put in there. I took a lot of time on that segment. Can we talk about it?
I'm not gonna. Hey, I'm going off. This one I'm going off of.
I put a lot of notes into that segment. I put multiple links.
Okay,
We should save that for tomorrow. Do mailbag for right
Booner,
now.
I
felt like we just did a mailbag for 10 minutes. We just did a open mic for comedy for 10 minutes.
It was fun.
Booner, you showed off your
You had to get your
forward,
headshot
man.
in there, bro.
Yeah, you.
I mean,
Yes, that's the guy who just said put the camera on me and show off
That
my
was
mullet.
And
That was
raised
30
his
seconds.
hand.
That was 30 seconds of the show. We're talking about we're come on.
Whoa. Go back to the other comment.
That's come on, big play.
Okay.
He said not calling Booner a racist. Thank you, big play. Just want that very well known, please. I want that out there.
Well,
hey, you're a man of the people, Booner. You don't discriminate.
yeah, I'm with
No,
IK
I
North.
love the
Booner, you're
people,
now the
man.
Taylor Swift of the show, man. Like,
Oh,
what's going
funny.
on with that?
Sorry, Lucas. Am I good, Lucas?
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, no,
it is
no,
sports.
no.
This show's off the rails.
Let's talk sports now. Can we get back on track? Let's
Well,
keep the people involved here. Let's get back on track. Why don't we just do my segment for a little bit here, fellas? Huh?
Okay. All right, Booner.
All right.
We got you. The thing is, though, with some of these segments, we went over. Hey, we got into some debates. We'll save it for now, though. We'll talk about it. Let's do it. The question I have for everybody: can the Detroit Lions be the number one offense in the NFL next season?
Oh, I love this question.
I know. Hey,
Hey, that's why you put it in there, Boone.
he was fired up for it. Can the Detroit Lions be the number one offense in the NFL next season? Ben returns, Goff returns. Of course, you got the running back duo, and they're, especially Jameer, going into a second year. Let's see if they bring back Josh Reynolds. We talked about J-Mo breaking out. St. Brown's now a legit all-pro. He's one of the best. Laporta, Decker, Ragnow, this offensive line. I mean, where are we at, guys?
It
number
really just
one
depends.
offense?
It just depends on the offensive line staying healthy. If that offensive line as a unit stays healthy, anything's possible. All these guys, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta in year 2, J-Mo with his breakout year, St. Brown being St. Brown, there's no reason they shouldn't or couldn't at least contend for that.
I mean, I'm not going to say lock for number one just because I think San Francisco is going to have a lot of guys back, and especially with how they get momentum in the regular season. But then you saw how their offense pretty much went toe-to-toe points-wise. They lost by 3. There's no reason that the Lions should be outside of the top 3, in my opinion, because maybe Kansas City picks up another weapon and they get it flowing. But Lions, they're I think, on the same tier as the Dolphins. And the Dolphins, for a while, they were the number one. They might even finish as the number one offensive league. I'd have to go look. But they're on the same tier as the Dolphins, in my opinion. Different styles and how they get there, but very similar in production.
Guys, if I'm being real, Booner, and I'm just going to answer this by saying I don't give a shit, to be honest with you. They'll be top 5. You know what I do give a damn about?
What's that?
The defense. Can we be top 15? Can we be top 12?
Can
That's what I care
top
about.
15, top 15, please.
Because you
Let's
can get away. I mean, look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They have Patrick Mahomes, of course, but even go to the other side, the San Francisco 49ers, one of the best offenses in the NFL, undoubtedly. But guess what else they have on the other side? Both teams in the Super Bowl have great offenses, but they also have great defenses. The Lions need to have a much more improved defense, especially in the secondary. So that's number one with me. The offense, be top 5, be top. I don't give a shit, honestly. As long as they're around where they were and they have been, I'm cool with that. And I think if you do have one of the best defenses or a top 15 defense, their offense, it'll be less pressure on them. They don't have to go out and score 30 plus a game, which might affect their total points scored per game and all that BS. So I think my concern's more on defense. Offense, I got no worry about them guys. They don't have to be number one to me. I don't think.
Yeah, I did number one. I just like they were top 5. They're kind of flirting with 7 and kind of going back and forth. I just think that they're going to be a better, like another year with Ben Johnson. Some of these guys, Gibbs, and this like year 2 with Gibbs. D-Mont's going to be in his second year in this system. J-Mo's going to be stepping up. Laporta's year 2. Like we talked about this earlier this week. I feel like they take a step, and a team that's already been top 5 back-to-back years, taking a step forward, you end up being one of the best in the league. And I think that's what's going to happen. Now, Jeff, I'm with you on the other side. Like if we talked about defense, they need to put a top 15 one out there, because if you have the best offense in the NFL and you put out a top 15 defense, that is where the value comes in. And that's where you end up being that whole Super Bowl or bust, to where it's like, hey, you're the best team in the NFL at that point. And I think that's like what you can see this team do next year, is do that. But and to Adam's point there, the defense just has so many holes to fill. And that's where Brad needs to kind of work on this offseason, is filling those holes and making that defense back there with some players and talent on the field and do that. But I think if I'm being honest, I wouldn't be surprised next year if that offense goes out there and ends up having the best offense in the NFL coming out of Detroit. I would not. I don't care if it's a tougher schedule. I don't care. I think that they go out there and they have one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, and the other thing to take into account, which I think we all expect the defense to improve, and I think it will. If the defense is allowing fewer points, the Lions offensively won't have to do as much. So if they take a little bit of a drop, but that means it's because the defense is playing better, then I'm all for it. If they're like a top 5 offense instead of a top 3, but it's because the defense is just not allowing as many points and the Lions, they don't have to score as much, I'm completely content with that. I just want to see the defense improve, because to Jeff's point, the offense will step up when it needs to. They showed that to you throughout the whole season, except in the NFC Championship game in the second half. And that's what sucks.
Yeah. I think they could do it. Like that would be a top 3 this next year. Take that step. You've been top 5 back-to-back years. Go be top 3. Take another step, and I don't see how they don't do that.
Where do you think this defense can get to? Like realistically,
top 15.
I mean, because again, we don't free agency draft, all that stuff hasn't happened. I mean, I know it's tough, and you have to project guys getting better and all that stuff. They have to be top 15, right? Like that's got to be that's got to be like the at least top 15,
especially if AG is back. Like you need to be top 15, and especially last offseason. Guess what last offseason was? That was the offseason to address the draft or the offense. Now this offseason, this is the defensive offseason. This is where you address that, Brad Holmes. So after you do that and you address the defense and you have AG coming back, that's like, dude, you have to be top 15. Anything outside of that is just an epic fail. Like you have to be top 15.
Yeah, and I think Adam's comment right there is very true. Anything outside of top 15, because playing in the NFC is one thing because of the quarterback play, but you go into the Super Bowl and you got to play a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, a Joe Burrow, etc. That's when it really shows if you have a top 15 defense or not, especially the experience there. If you have a lot of inexperienced guys, but it's still a top 15 defense, they can still get shredded. I think that's why it's so essential in the secondary. They add a veteran, because when you go up against those guys, that's when it matters.
Shout out to Spenny, by the way. Spenny, Easy, all the guys tuning in, man. I saw Ryan Lentz earlier. Just the support from the boys, man. We missed you guys. We love you guys always. Those guys are that's family.
Yeah,
that's family right there. Wow, there's some news. We are the night show. We are the official night show, and we are proud to be at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. because
news broke today, eh?
And that's why we're going to get to Mailbag, because we got about 8 minutes left, so we'll get to the people. We're going to embrace this, and that's why I like to add a little comedy into it, though, because it is a night show, right? Like everyone's chilling, we're talking sports, we get to laugh with the boys. It's relaxed, but at the same time, we're going to debate. But hey, apparently some big news over there breaking.
Do I need to address this? Because I feel like it's like the elephant in the room.
Yeah, speak on it.
I don't know. I shout out to the boys. Is it the Woodward Knights thing? Is that what we're talking about?
Hey, Booner. You can speak on it.
All right. Yeah. Let me just talk real quick. I did talk to some of those guys. Shout out to the fellas. So let's not do this. Now you guys are making me a little nervous here. I talk on a mic for a living, so I'm nervous. I love the boys over there. Shout out to them. I don't want to. There was nothing bad that happened with them. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys want me to say. Like, I feel it sucks for some of them, but they all have opportunities going forward, which I kind of made sure. I wanted to make sure that was a thing. So they're all going to be good. I talk.
Thanks, Booner, for your time. Appreciate it.
Well said, Booner.
But guess
Very
what?
well spoken.
What did I say at the very beginning of the show?
What do you say, Booner?
These 4 guys right here, we're going to take over Detroit sports media. We're taking this thing over. So I love those boys to death. Had a great 4 or 5 months, whatever. Like, love those boys. I talked to them already. Know what's going on, everything. I'm in the loop. This right here, though, we're taking this thing over here, man. Like, we're taking it over.
Real quick, I'll just address this now. RM Dole, I have a question. Why was last night's show number 8 and tonight's show is also number 8? Where'd you learn to count? That's on me. All right. Hey, I'm human.
That's a problem.
I put it as 8. It's 9. I'm sorry.
Hey, thanks for holding us accountable, though.
Yeah.
You do your job. The chat will do theirs, Jeff.
Yeah.
Chat's doing their job.
Adam used to deal with this every morning. He knows.
Okay. What? All right.
Maybe you're the DEI.
That's fair. All right, let's get some mailbag, man. Anybody, any last minute thoughts, questions, concerns? Danny G is
Drop
correct.
Some questions for me. I'd love to answer some questions.
I did learn to count from Toledo. That is
big news,
fact.
baby.
Damn.
Oh, that's funny. Steve Lehman, we need a crunch time with the heavies. Hey, this platform with the boy, we're gonna do our thing weekdays. We're gonna have some guests on.
Anybody's welcome.
Yeah, we'll have some guests on.
I think we may have a guest tomorrow too. I'm still. I think
we got to find like crunch time haters and have them on.
Spenmo, no one wins in that fight. We will never fight.
Yeah, we both lose. There's nothing to gain.
We give each other. We hug each other out.
Except me knowing that Booner can never.
Whoa, come on.
Never
Let's
step
not
to
start
me.
this. Let's not start that.
Adam is a patient mofo for
Love you,
dealing with
Booner.
Jeff and Fish. Oh my gosh, man, I miss Fish. And by the way, no, all right, me and Adam, we had a great dynamic. On air though, we argued like hell. But it was always I never was stressed with Adam, man. He's the best. One of the best humans I've ever met.
Couple of bits.
But it's for you, Boone. I don't know if you want to answer that one.
Well, actually, easy. You got it wrong. I said multiple Super Bowls in the next 5 years. So make sure you edit that in next time.
Tuned with that, Booner. You got sassy with that, Booner.
He did.
Booner got a little. He did get a little sassy there.
Sorry.
R.I.P. Fish.
Shout out,
Oh.
Fish.
Let's see, Matt and Mailbag. Jeff, when I get my mod wrench. I mean, mod goes to like some. I gotta trust. I don't know a lot of. Listen, I know you guys.
I think we have to have a limit on
mod
mod.
with the control to ban somebody is got to get qualified, man. If you're in here for a long period of time and I trust you, yeah, but we could give someone a mod.
I think we have a limit of mod wrenches, and I think there's like a 10, and then if it gets over 10, we have to start taking them away from others.
Hey, the fact that you guys are here.
Did you just make that rule up? Or
I did. No, I made that up.
I was about to say.
Hey, the fact that you guys are here gives you a higher chance as the viewership gets bigger.
That's
to be a
facts.
mod. We can put
Yeah,
it like
if
that.
you're in the chat
early.
If you're in the chat all the time, I mean, if I could trust you, I don't mind giving you a mod.
We have to. That's got to be a group. I have to. I want to trust someone too.
Well, it'd be we trust them.
The Booner mods, the Booner bots. That's what
I would like that. I would like to actually have that as one of my jobs for this channel. Is I want to be the moderator, the full big moderator.
I mean, Adam's kind of got it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, what the
Booner's mad again.
Adam Mailbag.
Jeff loves picking fights.
Says you.
But if I go at hey, if anyone goes at Hollywood, whoa.
Yeah, I'm like the last guy that you and Lucas.
Did you want to? Yeah. Did you? Wasn't there? Never mind. I won't bring that up. That was an off-air thing. I won't pick that. I won't pick that fight though. Hey, Luke. Yeah.
Spencer.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking. Yeah, I just know that you
either.
were mad yesterday because you didn't have enough talking time. So
I did not. No. Hey, do you want to make a bet about the NFC Championship?
Hey, no.
Do you want to make an NFC Championship bet, Jeff? Do you want to make an NFC Championship bet?
NFC Championship bet?
Yeah. Do you want to make a bet
that they will get back to the NFC Championship game next year?
Yeah. Did you want to make a bet? We had a conversation, right? Okay. So you better backpedal a little bit.
What are you talking about?
You know exactly. Lucas knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's taking his drink over there. If you want me to break, I could break it. I could bring some things up. Don't start with me. I don't lose.
He just threatened.
All right. Don't forget.
I don't.
Never lost.
You haven't heard that in a while, have you? I'm Booner, and I never lost.
You forgot who Lil Jon got to take shots with. Booner didn't get to take shots with Lil Jon.
Yeah, I know. He got to meet. Guy met Lil Jon, and now he's.
Who did Amon-Ra St. Brown post on his Instagram? Right, take a step back.
Oh my god!
Hey, Jeff met Jelly Roll.
Whoa,
Jeff met Laporta.
Yeah, it's like I don't brag. I don't have to brag about myself. I don't do that.
Okay.
We'll bring up this though. Danny G, Mailbag. How high can Jeff count? I don't know. That's a good question. I can't count, to be honest with you.
To 8, obviously.
Oh, Adam, man, I didn't.
Man, congrats. Want a cookie?
See, he didn't like that, Adam. He didn't like that.
Really
Ryan, did you guys meet Austin Meadows?
We have to do that, Spencer. I hope you know that's the Booner thing. We put our hands up like this and we get called on. That's the Booner special.
3-1-3. Keep finding y'all way. I support every step, man. We appreciate the support.
Appreciate that a ton.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate it. Matt N, new member. Appreciate you becoming
a
big time, man. That's everything. ETN, Mailbag. What's uglier, Booner's mullet or Desmond Ritter?
Hey.
Wow.
Hey.
Booner's got a nice mullet.
What's starting to happen here? See what's starting to happen here? I'm gonna have to step up.
What do you mean by that?
Lock in,
What do you mean
Booner.
by that?
Lock in, Booner. Lock in.
What are you talking about?
Are you gonna pick another comment, or are you just gonna sit there? What
He
is
moved
what is
on.
Do
Jeff's
your job,
problem?
Jeff. Do
Looks
your
like
job,
Jeff
Jeff.
got like 4 veins coming out of his forehead right now.
Hey, guys, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just let Booner ring me. I'll just let Booner come at me. I'll be the bigger man. I'll be the bigger man. All right.
Sure you will.
Alan, man, I listen to you
Let's
guys
go,
every day
Alan.
from Windsor, Canada. Thank you, Alan, for
Shout
listening.
out.
Appreciate that,
it, man.
Alan.
That is big time in Canada.
International.
Let's go, Alan.
The Booner path is international, baby.
Damn.
Jeff, if you do what I think you're gonna do, like I will leave the stream.
Booner. I'm
I
putting
see
up
a comment in there.
I'm
I see a
putting up-
comment in
I'm
there.
putting up questions. If there's a question, I bring it up. That's it. All right.
All right, this is better.
I literally put up a question. Can Jeff,
This is
what-
better.
Ooh.
This is better.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Great
well,
question by Adam Baydoun.
Yeah,
Great
well,
guy.
that's between them. Hey, they're grown men. They do whatever they want to do. RM,
Hey, whoa.
Oh, that's way too much. Come on now.
Yeah.
Or there is a line.
RM Dole, is Booner circumcised or not? How does that impact the Booner path?
Granddaddy's got a good one. An actual question, too.
Is there?
I think so.
I don't know, man. Because I think you got to think about Gibbs. He kind of wasn't used as much in the first half. He was in the second half. And if I see him taking like 300-400 more yards in the rushing game, that's gonna take away from D-Mon. I think D-Mon will be like 700-800, maybe 1,000 total yards if he can get in the receiving game. But even Jameer in the receiving game, I expect to take a step.
Yeah.
Booner looks mad again, bro.
I know. You really,
Yeah, right.
This is like an everyday thing. All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you guys.
How
for
do I
tuning
not
in.
have access to remove comments?
Dude, how don't I have access to click on them, bro?
I
What
can't
the
do
fuck,
anything. I'm
Jeff?
trying to
What
remove
is this?
All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's crunch time. Jeff Iafrate, Booner, Lukas Klotz, and Michael
Shout
Gentry.
out.
We'll see you guys tomorrow,
Hey, hit
8
the
p.m.
sub
to 10
button.
p.m. Tune in. We'll be live once again every day of the week. Like you guys all know, we're consistent.
Appreciate you guys.
And we want to bring you the best content. So we're only going to get better day by day. Thoughts, concerns, questions, leave them in the comments. We'll try to respond to as many as we can. And don't forget, you can become a Crunch member as well. You can check that out. It's in the description. If you want to listen, if you want to give us a rating, any podcast platform besides Apple, I'll get it fixed. I promise. Leave a 5-star review. We'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your night.
Wait. Booner.
I
go
love
ahead.
all of you guys in the chat. I love you guys. Have a great night.
All right.
And
love you guys.
subscribe.
Deuces.